Angela Rayner, the Deputy Prime Minister, calls for a £1 billion tax raid on savers.
Well, she sent a secret memo to Rachel Reeves pushing for a new tax raid. This is according to a new report by The Telegraph.
The alleged document proposes 8 tax increases, including reinstating the pensions, lifetime allowance and changing your dividend tax.
So it brings into question, is your money safe under Labour?
Britain's ready to sanction top Israelis over the offensive in Gaza as Sir Keir Starmer and David Lammy condemn the treatment of Palestinians.
In a GB News exclusive, we can reveal that the deal on the Chagos Islands is set to be signed this week. This after reports the deal had been pushed into the long grass.
A wake-up for water companies. A record number of criminal investigations are launched as sewage issues rise. Your thoughts welcome.
As new figures show, over 55s hold £3.7 trillion in property wealth, over two-thirds of the nation's private housing wealth. We're asking, should we increase property tax on the wealthy?
If you've been hoping for a bit of rain, perhaps to water your garden, then I do have some good news across some central and many southern parts with some wet weather here today. Further north, it's looking drier. I'll have the details coming up.
Very good to see you. Good to have you on board. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
You know, one thing I wish in life that I had have got involved in property or done more things in property. OK, you have a choice, you earn money, you work hard for it, and you could choose what to do with it. I chose to enjoy mine.
I think that's a good thing, though.
Well, it's a good thing. In this, just you get the tax department to then say, oh, you know, the way we said your tax was all fine, we've changed our minds, so we're going to go back over 10 years. And then you can't really bank against that. But that's what they do because they can do. And they all do it no matter what the party is. So now Angela Rayner's come forward today and she's saying, well, there's lots of ways I think we could get more tax out of them. So as if you're not feeling poor enough, they're going to get more from you. Where do they think it stops? You see, you know nothing about this because you're young in life and you're just starting out.
I am saving, though, or trying to save.
Yeah, but then you're going to get to 55 and 65 and you're going to look back and say, what have I got? And you're going to see that they've taken it all. They've taken it all from you in life through tax. And this greed thing today about, oh, the wealth of the property of the country, 3.7 trillion, that's owned by old people. Tax them, get the money out of them because they're greedy. And what a lot of absolute nonsense. You're told all your life to do these things, do these responsible things.
Buy a house,
and then if you do it, they're going to hit you with a big hammer for it. That's it. So whether you have it, and good luck to you if you have it or you haven't. And, you know, there you go, you haven't got it. But they want it. They don't want it to be yours. They want it to be theirs. So, you know, does government not realise that tax money is not their money? It's our money. And really, they've got to think about how they spend our money. So I'm just starting that debate for you today. What you think of it. Let us have your say today. Maybe you agree, maybe you think, you know, Angela Rayner's absolutely right. There's no doubt about it. There should be more social housing. Government should be doing more things in the world. Like, probably government should be providing us with basic essentials like water. Like water that we should be able to drink and wash and whatever, and not going to private companies who are scooping every single centimetre of cent out of what is going on. So those water companies, we're going to be talking about them today as well. We've
got a lot to talk about this morning, but it's all about the left wing of the Labour Party. They're not happy with the spending squeeze that we're seeing at the moment. They're not happy with universal winter fuel payments being scrapped, cuts to disability benefits. They're thinking about something else instead. They're looking at taxes. And Angela Rayner has reportedly been pushing the Chancellor to increase taxes on savers and high earners.
Well, you know, I know you say left wing of the Labour Party. They're all the same. All of them. All of them want to squeeze every pip from your body, from your being, from your bank account. So none of them are any different. Absolutely none. This is a leaked memo. And we're hoping to have the Telegraph writer on the programme who is reporting this today. So Angela Rayner has urged Rachel Reeves to reinstate a pensions lifetime allowance, increase taxes on dividends, so we don't like those, and freeze income tax thresholds ahead of the spring statement. So you thought you were poor, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Well, the move highlights growing frustration among ministers over the government's economic policy, with many now asking if tax rises are inevitable.
Well, we have had our say. Let's have Charlie Riley and see what he has to say about all of this. Well, my friend?
Good morning. Well, I think you're absolutely right, that summary at the top, because there are a lot of problems in this country. You know, if the government can't provide things like water, if it can't provide basic housing, of course there are issues, and you need to raise money, you need to spend some of that money in tax to fund those problems. However, how you raise that money and doing so in a way that doesn't choke off aspiration, that doesn't choke off growth, that doesn't go against what you said in your own election manifesto, which wasn't taxing working people. In Rachel Reeves' own last budget, she said, I'm not going to raise any more taxes to fund this 20 billion backhoe.
But Charlie, you used the term working people there. They don't see anybody. I don't get dividends from anything, so I'm not speaking in my own interest here or anything. But they don't see anybody who gets a dividend as a working person.
No, and exactly. And so the plans that Angela Rayner has submitted to Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, for example, freezing tax thresholds. So when you get an increase in your income, which is what the government hopes people will do, they'll say that wages keep going up. If you then get dragged into a higher tax bracket, you get taxed more. So that is a tax on working people. If you have worked hard and saved all your life and done the right thing, and you end up having, yes, quite a nice sum of savings, however, not in this day and age, if you've got to then save for things like a family home or a home when it's harder to get onto the property ladder, if you're saving for adult social care and things like that in this day and age.
You've got to save to die as well.
You absolutely have. And this idea about property, you're absolutely right, because this is something, you know, I'm currently going through myself. You know, a family that works hard all their life, that wants to just pass on, whether it's their property, a family home that your kids, your grandkids have grown up in, that you might then have to use to pay against care home fees, for example. All of that's coming at you by the Labour government.
I was brought up in a council house, right? So we lived in a few council houses, and the idea and the dream and the aspiration was always, imagine one day you could actually own this. And then you realise when you do own it, and we really did think we had arrived when we owned our 8,000 quid council house or whatever it was. But now the idea is, when you've owned that, we're going to squeeze you for that one as well, because we're going to get money out of you because you have bought it, and we're going to get money off our books because we don't have to pay, maintain or provide the social need that is due in this whole country for people.
That's absolutely right. Look, and the failure over social housing and council housing wasn't things like right to buy, which gave people hope and aspiration if you're able to buy your council house. It was the failure not to build more.
Yeah.
And so the idea, but it seems to me this government in particular, because they say that money is tight, but they're going after every kind of pip to squeeze, as you said earlier on, that they can get their hands on. But it's a tax on aspiration. It is a tax on people who have lived that dream, that have been told that is a way forward. That is a way to bring people up in society, not wait till they get there and then take it away from them. I think it's something that a lot of people this morning, they'll be reading those headlines, they'll be trying to take what the Chancellor says at face value by saying she's not going to raise any more taxes when it comes to the next budget. But this memo completely undermines that. It shows behind the scenes at the very top of government. And she's not a junior minister. She's not a back office.
No.
This is the Deputy Prime Minister suggesting to the Chancellor, you need to raise more taxes.
Do you think then it's inevitable that we will see tax rises in the autumn budget? Because we know headroom is tight, and we also know that spending cuts are politically damaging. I mean, we've seen what's happened with winter fuel.
Yeah, I think so, and I think there'll be some sort of reversing of that winter fuel allowance, whether it's the rate in which some people pay or whether it's a complete reverse altogether. We'll have to wait and see. But they've got a really, I think, a really tricky path to navigate here, the Labour government. They could have easily said back in the autumn or back in the first budget, right, we have to raise even more taxes than what Rachel Reeves did to try and fund the waste of the previous terrible Tory government. That's how they could have
they
sold
boxed themselves in, didn't they, with the taxes that they wouldn't rise?
Exactly. They've said they're not going to raise taxes, but now they're heralding all these trade deals left, right and centre with America, with India, now with the EU. The idea that then Rachel Reeves is going to come back to the dispatch box and say, even with those great deals, I'm still going to raise taxes. Well, people will be saying, well, hang on, what are you doing? What's your strategy? Where is the growth coming from? Where's the help for aspiration? inflation. Any idea about, any thought about tax cuts to help grow the economy on people that are the backbone of our economy, small and medium-sized businesses that have already had that tax increase through national insurance contributions? It just seems, as the days go by, that there's no strategy, that there's no narrative. People can get behind a narrative, as they did during the coalition years, it seemed to me, when they had to be cuts. So there was
the narrative, the strategy is despise anybody who's got a stake in society. Anybody, and it doesn't matter who you are, what you are, or how you got it. And I think that even people who don't have property would actually agree with the principle and say, well, that maybe if life was different for me, I could have had this or I could have had that, or that would have been the way to provide for my family or to hand on to people in general. But it's this division amongst the ruling authorities, and I say Conservative, Lib Dems and Labour, I put you all in the same basket, that they just despise people having independent control.
Yeah, and I wouldn't just leave it at the door of politicians. They ultimately make decisions. But there seems to be this groupthink within the Treasury that does appear to be a middle-class, probably Oxbridge-educated group of people that think, oh, we can just raise more money here, there and everywhere because everyone will be OK. They don't understand necessarily what it's like to be a young...
You've hit it on the head there. Rachel Reeves, right, able politician, not Rachel Reeves, Angela Rayner, I'm thinking. And I'm thinking, so who knocks on her door and says, Madam, could I just show you this? Here's a great idea to get more money. I know this is not your thing, but take this idea. She doesn't think up taxing policy. She doesn't know taxing policy. So somebody's come to her and say, now, would you go to the Chancellor, who's supposed to know about all these things, and tell her, here's more money we could get? Why don't they go to the Chancellor directly? Yeah,
exactly. And, you've got to think about the politics behind it. Keir Starmer's poll ratings, rock bottom at the minute because of just various things like the winter fuel allowance and just his... I think presentation skills and not necessarily being the leader that I think people were hoping for. This is an opportunity, maybe. I mean, how has it been leaked? Why has it been leaked? There is someone clearly trying to undermine the Prime Minister's authority. Somebody clearly trying to get out of the into the front pages that Angela Rayner is asking for more tax rises, because that is something the traditional left of the Labour Party would want to see. So there are questions around how has this come to light? Why now, in the run-up to more discussions around the budget? Why is it coming from Angela Rayner? You're right. Somebody's gone to her to say, look, if you want to be the politician, the star of the left, to raise more taxes, here's a way to do it.
And this is where I get angry, right? So we're sitting and we're saying, right, we'll get money of Ellie, we'll get money of Eamonn, we'll get money of Charlie, we're going to do this, get everybody. What about these water companies, right? They're sitting there and they're getting money for old rope, basically. They're getting money for poisoning us, for letting us literally swim in poo, drink poo, be involved. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. They were given a licence where they just print money, let's have this money, great, and we're paying for all of that. I mean, if they're supplying this service, I want to see what that service is, and I don't want my water to be polluted.
And this is where, I think reform will do very well, as they did with the Scunthorpe Steelworks. So they came directly to say, that's an area government needs to step in, that's where nationalisation needs to come in.
Oh my gosh.
OK, forget it. Fine. Just carry on.
And so, look, there's...
This is our country, and we think it's amazing. From high tea to the high street, we love it all. Even the rain, we like that too. There's nowhere else we'd rather be. That's why we're here to be the fearless champion of Britain, its voices and its values. Because we are GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel. And as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news,
Please bring us up to date.
or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons,
Very, very curious.
we bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is our country, and we think it's amazing. From high tea to the high street, we love it all. Even the rain, we like that too. There's nowhere else we'd rather be. That's why we're here to be the fearless champion of Britain, its voices and its values. Because we are GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. Good to see you again, especially good for me to see you again. I am still alive, yes. And they're very wonky wheels on chairs that we've got here. As a matter of fact, we don't really like the chairs full stop, do we?
They're a bit slippy and slidey, aren't they?
They're a bit slippy and slidey, and I've slipped and slid off mine there. Not the first guest to have done so. We've had a few. They have to remain nameless because they're well-known people, but they've hit the floor really badly, quite frightening, and it was a bit of a shock for me because I've had a fall in my bathroom 2 weeks ago, which hospitalised me, and that hit me again right in the back, and really, really sore, really sore.
You okay?
Don't know if it all works or not, but we'll find out anyway. Charlie Riley believes that it was some government agent that came in.
Yes, they heard us talking about them in such such passionate terms.
Yeah.
I think somebody, just when we were talking about the power of the state, the power it pull us off. But we're all good now, so...
Yeah, so glad you're OK.
To sum up the situation whereby the Deputy Prime Minister, the Daily Telegraph reporting today that she's got a plan that she's whispering to the Chancellor and saying, oh, hey, you thought you'd no money, but look, my department have looked up and we reckon we could get you even more money.
Exactly, and it raises about, I think, 7 to 8 billion a year, which is not... it's a lot of money, but not in the grand scheme of things as to what government needs to accumulate. But the idea that it seems to be attack on aspiration, attack on savings, attack on, again, pensioners if you've got particular amounts of savings, attack on property if you want to work and save and hand that on to your kids and your next generation. It all points to one direction where people that have scrimped and saved and worked hard and played by the rules all their lives, this government is coming after you. So it's bad news, it's bad headlines, but if you're the darling of the left, if you are Angela Rayner that sees the Prime Minister with his polls rock bottom, it could be an opportunity for her to capitalise.
OK, and that's Charlie Riley saying that. It's his chair you want to be looking at, not mine.
Let us know what you think on that one. It's going to get a lot of you talking this morning. gbnews.com/yoursay.
Yes, I am OK, but by the time you read this online today and on the newspapers and things tomorrow, it'll be as if it was like an assassination attempt on me or something. But I am OK.
You're OK.
Bit of a sore neck, yes, has to be said.
We're going to keep calm, we're going to carry on.
And then I'm going to throw these chairs in the bin by the end of today, it has to be said. Daily reflection time.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Hello, I'm Reverend Mike, a vicar in the Church of England. Village fete season is almost upon us here in Denton. The stalls will be set, the bunting will be hung, but it is the sound and bustle of our guests that spark it into life. Jesus' work on earth is a bit like this, complete, but poised for that life-giving spark. In his death and resurrection, Jesus has atoned for sin. He's broken death. He's given us access to God. But it's like the world's creation in Genesis. The world exists, but it is formless. The Spirit must descend to bring life. In John 16:7, Jesus explains that the Spirit must come in order to make his saving work real in his disciples. We'll mark that at Pentecost. But it's also a coming that must happen at a personal level. We hear these things that Jesus has done for us, but in order to make them real in our own lives, we must receive that life-giving Spirit. Friends, the stalls are set, the bunting is hung, and Christ invites all to receive life.
Amongst the things we're going to be talking about today, Thames Water has dropped plans to pay bosses bonuses from its £3 billion rescue plan after ministers expressed their concerns.
Well, the water firms say their intention has never been at odds with the government's ambition to reform the water industry. And it comes as a record 81 criminal investigations into environmental breaches by water firms have been launched. Well, we're now joined by Head of Campaigns at River Action, Erica Popitwell. Good to see you this morning, Erica. And this is a national scandal, isn't it? I'm sure you welcome the plan by Thames Water not to pay their bosses bonuses.
Yeah, we absolutely don't think that pollution should pay and that they should be rewarded for causing pollution to our rivers and for making the service that customers receive expensive and not delivering what it should.
And the government bringing these 81 criminal investigations being launched, I'm sure that's something that you welcome as well.
Yeah, the government is beginning to take action and we're pleased to see that. But there's a lot of questions still unanswered. We've seen the government already has the ability to put water bosses in jail, but they haven't actually done that. It takes a long time. And we would question where their capacity is in the court system. We know it's already overburdened. And so, of course, it comes down to funding. The court system needs to be properly funded. But even more importantly, the regulators need to be funded. That's the Environment Agency, so that they can take the years that it's going to take realistically to get these enforcement actions through and pick up new ones as we see continual breaches of permits by water company bosses.
Over optimistic because when we look at you know, the various governments and previous governments and whatever it is, at least this lot seem to be actually trying to do something.
Yeah, I've been encouraged by the new government, but I think there's a long way to go. We need to see the Water Commission that they launched themselves by being led by Sir John Cunliffe coming out with really strong recommendations that take a bold approach to the entire water industry, not just tweaking around the edges and making marginal changes. We want them to look to Europe, where we know there's some really positive business models, and take inspiration from those and make recommendations that the government then, of course, takes up. And we see real change in the industry that works for, yes, for business, but also for the customers and for the environment.
What we're seeing is absolutely disgusting, and we should all just actually stop whatever we're doing and look and say, this is your water. This is not somebody else's water. This is your water. It's the same in your area as it is in anybody else. It's like this in Scotland, in Ireland, in Wales, in England. It affects everybody. And could you just, Erica, explain to us, when these water companies were privatised, this seemed like a great idea. You get the running of this off the state's books and whatever. And these guys were basically given a blank check. They were basically saying, yeah, you run this, just keep taking money out of this. And it seems put very little back in return in investing in the infrastructure of the whole water system.
Yeah, that's an excellent summary. The privatisation of water meant that a non-discretionary purchase, we all need water. And when you move to a new area, you don't choose your water company in the same way you would choose your internet provider, for example, or other other services. So they have a license to print money in that area. But there hasn't been the regulation to make sure that they keep up with the investment model. You need to invest in your infrastructure so that you have new reservoirs as demand grows, so that the pipes that the water goes through aren't leaking and you're wasting water, and that the sewage treatment system that we know at the moment is a combined system. So if it rains heavily, there's not enough capacity to deal with the rainwater and the sewage. The two are mixed together and they go straight into the river. Through good investment, we could alleviate that situation, but the priority has been over shareholder returns and, as we've seen, corporate bonuses, and that meant that the system has been underinvested chronically for 30 years, and we're now looking at this absolute crisis point that we've reached where our rivers are filthy, people are getting sick from swimming in the rivers, and yet still people make big bonuses and shareholder returns. It's not working, and something has to change.
Yeah, it does. Erica, good to see you this morning. Thank you very much. I mean, it's scandalous, isn't it? Just looking here, in 2021, in the financial year, water companies paid out a total of $965 million in shareholder dividends.
Gosh.
And there's sewage in 75% of our rivers.
So here's your job. You don't have to fulfil it. You don't have to do it right. You don't have to make sure
do
we're
it to a good standard, even.
To a good standard. Forget all that. But you can have
£65 million.
For the privilege of doing it. It's tough. I saw a documentary, I think it was on the BBC, about Thames Water, and it was quite... I felt sorry for the people who worked for Thames Water because basically they were under-resourced, they hadn't got the facilities, you know, fewer people on not the right sort of budgets trying to carry out the work, but the shareholders obviously doing very well out of it. And these are all foreign investors as well. So what do they care? Do you care? Let us know this morning. Please do have your say. Now, this morning, I realised when I come out to the car this morning, I realised it's raining. It's raining.
Oh, I missed that entirely.
Yeah, and I thought this week was supposed to be a good week, but it is raining. And then I got into the car and the guy on the radio said... The weather guy, not our weather, but this weather guy, and he said something like, well, today there's going to be some rain, there's going to be some sun, and there's going to be some rain. Again, I don't know what the weather's going to be like.
Mixed picture, I think.
So here's Alex Burkill, he'll tell you.
Heavy showers first thing will be followed by a warm, cosy day. Boxed boilers. Sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning, I'm here with your latest GB News weather update coming to you from the Met Office. Whilst many northern parts are going to have another fine day with a decent amount of warm sunshine, it's a different story further north. We already have some fairly heavy showery rain affecting parts of South Wales, southwest England, pushing across some other southern coastal parts as well. A lot of that will clear away as we go into the afternoon, but we do have some further showery bursts developing across some more central eastern parts, and some of these could turn heavy, possibly even thundery. Temperatures similar to yesterday for many places, high teens, low 20s quite widely, mid 20s for a few places, feeling fresher towards those eastern coastal parts. Now, as I said, we do have some further showers to watch out for, and some of them could be a little bit on the heavy side even as we head towards this evening's rush hour across southern parts, but they will clear away as we go through the evening and overnight. Further north, we're sticking with the fine picture. Pretty decent end to the day, lots of sunshine on offer for most, albeit across eastern parts of Scotland. Some thicker cloud here, and I can't rule out one or two showers pushing their way in, particularly across parts of Aberdeenshire. Then overnight, as I mentioned, the showery rain across the south, that clears away, so it's looking dry for most, but some thicker cloud pushing into some eastern parts of England could bring a few outbreaks of rain, and a few showers still possible for eastern parts of Scotland. Otherwise, there will be a lot of clear skies around, and so it could turn a bit fresh for some of us, maybe a touch of frost in rural spots of Scotland, and there could be a few pockets of mist and fog around too. Then through tomorrow, that swathe of cloud continues its progress southwards, still bringing a little bit of rain, perhaps to parts of East Anglia, maybe Kent for a time, but on the whole it's a generally dry picture, just a few showers here and there, and again a decent amount of sunshine, but with some fresher air coming in. Temperatures are going to be down several degrees compared to of late, and feeling particularly fresh towards those North Sea coasts.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Now, the chance for you to be involved in the Great British Giveaway is not going to go on forever, so it's coming to an end.
It is.
And that means people should get involved.
They should, because it's a great prize, a brand new motorhome worth over £67,000 plus £5,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. So don't miss out. Here are all of the details that you need.
Someone is going to win the biggest prize package to date, and that someone could be you, driving away in this Elnag Baron 560 motorhome, courtesy of Marquis Leisure. It has plenty of room for your family of four, comes complete with kitchen, bathroom and all the space you'll need for life on the road. And the best news? You can drive it on your existing driving licence. Plus, we'll also give you a further £5,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. Don't delay. You can't win if you're not in the draw. For another chance to win the lot, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB13 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 6th of June. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
And from the giveaway to the traffic, if you're out and about in your motorhome today, how are things going? Let's have a look.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A96 westbound is restricted due to planned roadworks, leading to longer than usual journey times. In Nottinghamshire, an overturned vehicle has closed all lanes on the A46 northbound. Be cautious on the M6 southbound, where animals on the road have caused lane closures between Junction 6 and Junction 5, resulting in 30-minute delays. If you're heading south, the A470 from Pontypridd to Upperboat is closed for planned maintenance, with diversions in place. And on the trains, disruptions are affecting the Elizabeth line between London Paddington and Heathrow, and Great Western Railway services between London Paddington and Reading. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Do stay with us. Still to come, we're going to be going through the papers with Tim Vincent and Claire Muldoon. There they are. They can't wait to chat to us. We can't wait to chat to you too. See you in a couple of minutes.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No, because you're deliberately avoiding my point.
Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. That's State of the Nation every Monday and Tuesday at 8 o'clock, only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Breakfast. We're going through the papers in the company of journalist and broadcaster Claire Muldoon and the actor and TV show host Tim Vincent. Morning, you two. Morning.
Morning.
And Claire, let's start with this plan, shall we, by Angela Rayner to tax savers.
I mean, she needs to build houses, doesn't she? Where is she going to get the money to build houses? There is no money in the Treasury. Rachel Reeves has already confirmed that there's a 22 billion black hole, is there not? Plus more. So what the plan is now, if they have a plan, do Labour really have a plan? Do they know what plan means, actually? Rayner has now decided to tax savers, and this is a leaked document, leaked memos shown to journalists at the Daily Telegraph, of which they've splashed it right and firmly on their front page, to say that those of us who have tried, well, I'm not one of them, I have to say, I say the royal we, some of us who have managed to save a bit will end up getting taxed, and that's disregarding the fact if you've got a tax-free ISA, if you've got savings in your bank, which of course historically interest rates have been historically low, so you're not even going to get much of a return on that. And then they're just coming after absolutely everything. You think for 1 minute there might be a bit of hope. Not at all. Absolutely none. And unfortunately today, as Eamonn said as well, with this weather, there's more doom and gloom with Muldoon this morning than I ever cared to remember.
Yeah.
I think the issue is what Eamonn had said earlier on in the show, is that
they are taxing you. They're penalising for anybody that's been encouraged to save or work very hard to buy a house. And I've travelled like the rest of you. You look at those Norwegian countries or the Scandi countries, and they always say very high taxes, very high tax. But actually, you get a lot for your money, a bang for your buck. You get so many weeks off if you have a child. You have the equivalent of NHS. Here, you don't get anything for your money. If you can stomach the fact that you are actually paying all these taxes and stealth taxes, don't even get me started on stealth taxes. By the time you and I have got here this morning, we've had to do car tax, home insurance, all these other things that are actually added to it. You don't get anything more for your money. Do you not think 10, 15, 20 years ago, Eamonn, we had a better life with a better infrastructure, with less tax?
You know what we had, Tim? I think we had hope, we had prospects, we had maybe there's a chance I could do better. When I speak as a working class boy, and I thought to myself, well, you know, my dad is a carpet fitter, he works really hard, I don't want to work as hard as he does and with the sweat of his brow and whatever, and you try and think of clever ways and ways to progress yourself and whatever. And I think what these politicians do, and I include them all in this, is they take away your dreams, your hopes, your aspirations, and the fact that you can do something. If you can do something for yourself, you're seen as greedy, you're seen as not contributing to society. And, you know, I know each of our stories. I know her story, I know your story, and I think that we do, in our own ways, things to benefit our families and our own lives. And you know what? You work blooming hard, really hard. He works blooming hard. And people, I'm leaving you out of this because I just don't know enough about you. but I'm saying I know these folks' stories, and you can look and you say, oh, there's your man Tim Vincent. He's on the telly. Life's easy for him and whatever it is. But for him even to hold on to a job, for you, all the jobs, people wouldn't even realise what it takes to keep you going.
I know.
And your family.
I know. But this is the thing. Oh, you're right, all politicians, after 14 years of Conservatism, there was nothing, there was no hope. There was only a dangle, only a dingle-dangle. We had Brexit, we had everything. There was nothing to hold on to give families growth, to give communities spirit. Everything has been annihilated. It's been taken away, bit by bit. But it's like these big companies coming in and buying a company and then ripping it all apart just to sell it off. It's soulless. This country is soulless.
Globalisation.
That's it. That is the absolute problem.
But Angela Rayner says, in this leaked document, the first line says she thinks this will be popular, prudent, and would not raise taxes on working people. But
it does raise taxes. I mean, the dividend...
Well, yeah, on working people.
Everybody who invests in a dividend or whatever is a working person.
Yes.
That's why they're getting that. So there's no point trying to pretend that these aren't working people. What I do believe in with Angela Rayner is that we need social housing. We absolutely need social housing. It should be a duty of society to provide it. However, not to people from Mongolia and, Sudan and whatever it happens to be. And we're going to have to get real on what effect we have on the world, the overall world. The overall world is not our problem. That's what I would say to you. Give me your view on this morning and let me know what you think.
I mean, the overseas aid budget has been slashed by almost half, but it doesn't touch the size.
It doesn't touch the size of it. Who cares? Slash it all.
Yeah, I think that would be quite popular with people. Let us know what you think on that one, gbnews.com/you'll say. Let's have a look, Tim, at Barking Mad, an asylum-seeking dog, shall we, in The Sun?
I love this story because, mainly because of the front page of The Sun. They've actually blacked out the dog's eyes before they even tell the story to protect his backstory. Taxpayers are to fork out thousands of pounds to put up a dog that crossed the channel in a packed dinghy. The German Shepherd, slightly ironic, made the perilous trip with its illegal immigrant owner. The fiasco is believed to be the first time a canine has been picked up this way, which I'm surprised at. The German Shepherd was taken ashore to spend at least 4 months in quarantine at taxpayers' expense. Discussions were underway about adopting the hound, whose breed is easily trained, as an official border force dog. Reform UK Deputy Leader Richard Tye said, this country's open borders policy is so porous, even household pets are arriving. I think it's quite a funny story. I have to say, you know, we are known as a country of dog lovers.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be a story that actually grows and grows and grows, and I think there'll be lots of people that sign up to take that dog in.
And it's not a shaggy dog story, it has to be said.
It's a wet dog
where the
story.
holiday weather is, where the sun is shining throughout Europe, and we'll be back with the guys right after this.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
There's some pretty heavy rain affecting some typical holiday hotspots at the moment, for example, across northern France into Italy, Austria, Croatia, as well as many other countries in that area. We're seeing some heavy rain leading to the risk of some flooding, even some intense thunderstorms as well. Further west, a bit drier across many parts of western Spain into Portugal, but some showers affecting the Canary Islands. Even some more changeable weather to come as we head towards the weekend. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel. And as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
A monumental breakthrough. Scientists have revealed that they've found strong evidence of alien life. Just 124 light years away.
Which is quite far, isn't it? Astronomers from Cambridge University have detected signs of molecules that do indicate life, so we may not be alone after all.
Well, joining us now to explain what on earth this exciting story is, the astronomer and broadcaster Mark Thompson joins us. Mark, just how important is this discovery?
Well, it's incredibly important. For so many years now, we've been looking for some signs that we're not alone in the universe. The universe is a massive place. It's often been said that there's more stars in the universe than there are grains of sand on Earth. So, it's a big place. And to think that we're the only intelligent species in the entire cosmos is difficult to understand. And the discovery that's just been announced is that there's something called dimethyl sulfide, which is an element made of hydrogen, carbon and sulfur, which at the moment we think the only possible way that could be there is through some form of primitive living organisms.
So this is because it's a very complicated gas to sort of combine together. There's no way there could be some sort of volcano churning this stuff out. It has to be some sort of biological life form as the most likely explanation.
Yeah, absolutely. There are other elements, but this particular element, dimethyl sulfide, at the moment, the only process we know of that can produce it is life. Now, of course, we're still in early stages of this discovery, and we still need to do a lot of work to see if there's any other processes we can identify that can produce it. But for now, the only thing we know of is life, and so the only explanation, therefore, is that it's life. But it is still early days.
GB News, the People's Channel.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
We're back going through the papers with Claire Muldoon and Tim Vincent. And Claire, let's look at the Metro, shall we? Sewage crime probes hit a record 81 criminal investigations.
Do you know what? I just can't believe that we are in a developed country right?
No,
and we
shocking.
cannot get the water fixed in this country. It's ridiculous. Thames water, Anglia water, there's more coming through. I think it's corporate manslaughter, actually, because I'm sure that people have been killed and been, you know, desperately affected by the sewage and everything else in the water.
And also, you stand by these... we have a beautiful country with beautiful rivers, and you stand by those rivers and you're advised not to go into those rivers because you will get an infection or a bacteria, something or other that will affect your eyes or make you nauseous.
The livestock, it's affecting the livestock as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, it is because... and you're told not to do this, and we've had the recycling thing before, and you should put all these things... but the companies are pumping in millions of tonnes of sewage every single day and not being penalised for it, but taking out all their money in dividends every year.
Well,
this is
it should
too
be back.
little too late.
These utilities should be back in public hands. We need some form of accountability, and we need those that are causing the issue, causing the problems, to be held accountable, because, like everything else, there's no accountability in this society either. People are left to do what the hell they want all the time without the law of the land saying to them, that's wrong, or they're saying it wrong in the wrong places.
There's
Look
no
at Lucy Conley.
There's no
culpability whatsoever.
If you watch Bob Mortimer, Paul White,
and the Rivers,
fantastic show, you know, and you see all those beautiful places, but they're never far from saying that there's some kind of pollution there. I think Fergal Sharkey has actually become a big...
absolutely. He's a saint on earth. He should be canonised.
But it is frightening that people come over here. I know a lot of Americans, they come over and they love it, and they say, oh, this is amazing. So I wouldn't get in the water and swim around there because there's so many bacteria out there that you could have a problem with it. And they look at you a bit weird and you go, absolutely, don't get in the rivers.
Yeah, well, it's a scandal, isn't it? It's something like 75% of UK rivers pose a serious risk to human health. And 75%.
But bumper profits for the water companies.
I don't want to bring this back to fishing, right? But Scottish farmed fish, they're fished in the most appalling conditions. And it's all down to the fact that there is no water. The whisky in Scotland used to be perfect because of the water, but it's just all so polluted. It's horrible.
But again, I go back to capitalisation, or globalisation, sorry, within the world. And what the American influence on food and making profit from food results in your salmon being riddled with worms, for instance, as well. So many bad things over things being bigger. They're bigger but not better.
Yeah, and you wonder why children are obese now more than ever, when you cannot, when parents are struggling financially, they can't afford the nice organic meat or the organic vegetables.
Well, how expensive is it?
That's what I mean. It's so expensive, so all they're feeding their children is rubbish.
It's junk.
But just tax us more. Tax us more. Well,
that's the plan, according to the Telegraph.
Yeah, but what are we paying for? We're going to be paying for houses for people and immigrants and migrants all around the world. My heart bleeds for them, but there we go.
I'm not in favour of higher taxes, just saying.
OK, there we go. Have your say as well. Now, are you in favour of brushing your teeth, and if so, how often?
I love brushing my teeth, and I'd brush my teeth probably 4 times a day.
But
we're on the same camp there, Ellie. I will brush my teeth before breakfast, after breakfast, and it possibly...
Have you brushed them yet, Tim?
I've brushed them twice today. In fact, I think I've even brought a toothbrush with me.
I do that as well.
I think that's...
At least mouthwash, exactly.
That's
how do you stand on mouthwash?
That's bordering on something else.
Bit of OCD. But at least it's clean-smelling breath OCD.
Yeah, and I think that's a very good thing. I get really paranoid about having coffee breath because that's all I
See,
drink.
My vicious circle is that I've started to not eat before midday. So I'm doing this intermittent fasting, which then for me is that I will have coffees all through the morning to keep myself
what's that got to do with brushing your teeth?
Because you have coffee breath. So then I think, oh, well, I need to clean my teeth again and again.
Oh, I think this is just preposterous.
Well, what do you do?
Once a day.
Really?
Once. In the morning.
Just only the
once a day, and my teeth are perfect.
You have got lovely teeth.
Actually.
Thank you.
Apparently, if you overbrush, though, you're getting rid of
black
the
coffee,
enamel.
black tea.
Yeah.
Well, enamel's one of the quiz question. What is the toughest part of the body? And it's enamel on your teeth.
Really?
Yeah.
And we're probably brushing it all away, Tim.
But at least we smell nice.
But ideally, you should brush before you have breakfast, according to this new study, right? Because you don't want to brush after you've had something acidic, because it has a softening effect on the tooth enamel that you were talking about there.
How often do you brush your teeth?
What?
How often do you brush your teeth?
Well, I take them out at midday.
I was going to ask.
Somebody brushes them for you.
No, I would think probably about 3 times a day.
Oh, so you do it quite a lot as well?
Yeah, but I'm not like you. I don't take them out and have 3 sets of them and say which one will I wear now. Have these in, whatever.
I am quite obsessed. Yes.
Mouthwash is bad for you as well. Can I just
Oh,
say?
don't say that.
What? Yeah, absolutely.
It is. It's really bad for you.
Especially if it's blue in colour.
I know.
I've got one of those
What?
bottles in my handbag as we speak.
Have you had your teeth whitened?
Yes.
I have.
Yes. Oh, well, there you go. That's why they're so nice and white, then, you see.
Nothing to do with the brushing.
Well,
look,
Claire
these
and
two are
Tim.
going to be back sparkling with the newspaper
Yeah.
review in 40 minutes' time now. And don't forget, you can stay with us all day, not just on TV, but on radio and your smart speaker.
Yep, so listen to us on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News on TuneIn. Now let's get the weather.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning, I'm here with your latest GB News weather update coming to you from the Met Office. Whilst many northern parts are going to have another fine day with a decent amount of warm sunshine, it's a different story further north. We already have some fairly heavy showery rain affecting parts of South Wales, southwest England, pushing across some other southern coastal parts as well. A lot of that will clear away as we go into the afternoon, but we do have some further showery bursts developing across some more central eastern parts, and some of these could turn heavy, possibly even thundery. Temperatures similar to yesterday for many places, high teens, low 20s quite widely, mid 20s for a few places, feeling fresher towards those eastern coastal parts. Now, as I said, we do have some further showers to watch out for, and some of them could be a little bit on the heavy side, even as we head towards this evening's rush hour across southern parts, but they will clear away as we go through the evening and overnight. Further north, we're sticking with the fine picture, pretty decent end to the day, lots of sunshine on offer for most, albeit across eastern parts of Scotland, some thicker cloud here, and I can't rule out 1 or 2 showers pushing their way in, particularly across parts of Aberdeenshire. Then overnight, as I mentioned, the showery rain across the south, that clears away, so it's looking dry for most, but some thicker cloud pushing into some eastern parts of England could bring a few outbreaks of rain, and a few showers still possible for eastern parts of Scotland. Otherwise, there will be a lot of clear skies around, and so it could turn a bit fresh for some of us, maybe a touch of frost in rural spots of Scotland, and there could be a few pockets of mist and fog around too. Then through tomorrow, that swathe of cloud continues its progress southwards, still bringing a little bit of rain, perhaps to parts of East Anglia, maybe Kent for a time, but on the whole, it's a generally dry picture, just a few showers here and there, and again, a decent amount of sunshine, but with some fresher air coming in. Temperatures are going to be down several degrees compared to of late, and feeling particularly fresh towards those North Sea coasts.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the M8 westbound, lane 1 remains closed due to a broken down vehicle. The A470 southbound from Pontypridd to Upperboat is undergoing planned maintenance, resulting in a full road closure with diversions in place. In Nottinghamshire, an incident involving an overturned vehicle has closed all lanes on the A46 northbound between junctions with the A617 and the A1. And on the trains, disruptions persist on the Elizabeth line between London Paddington and Heathrow Airport, or Reading. And similar disruptions are affecting the Great Western Railway between London Paddington and Reading. Stay informed, and for more travel news go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Someone is going to win the biggest prize package to date, and that someone could be you, driving away in this Elnag Baron 560 motorhome. It has plenty of room for your family of 4, comes complete with kitchen, bathroom and all the space you'll need for life on the road. Plus, we'll also give you a further £5,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. For another chance to win the lot, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 125. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB13 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 6th of June. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Headliners on GB News 11 p.m. every night. It's got 3 top comedians going through the next day's newspapers so you don't have to read them, which is great.
That's a good point. He's lying. I mean, maybe he's not lying.
That's Headliners every night from 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. as well on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Angela Rayner calls for a £1 billion tax raid on savers.
The Deputy Prime Minister sent a secret memo to Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, pushing for a new tax raid, according to the Daily Telegraph.
While the alleged document proposed 8 tax increases, including reinstating the pensions lifetime allowance and changing dividend taxes.
So it brings into question, is your money safe under Labour?
Britain is ready to sanction top Israelis over the offensive in Gaza as Sir Keir Starmer and David Lammy condemn the treatment of Palestinians.
It's a GB News exclusive. We can reveal the deal in the Chagos Islands is set to be signed this week after reports that it has been pushed into the long grass.
A wake-up call for water companies. A record number of criminal investigations are launched as sewage issues rise.
New figures show over 55s hold £3.7 trillion in property wealth. That's over 2/3 of the nation's private housing wealth. Should that annoy you? We're asking, should you also increase property tax then on the wealthy?
If you've been hoping for a bit of rain, perhaps to water your garden, then I do have some good news across some central and many southern parts with some wet weather here today. Further north, it's looking drier. I'll have the details coming up.
Hello there on this Wednesday morning. A very good morning to you. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast. Now, Angela Rayner has reportedly been pushing the Chancellor to increase taxes on savers and high earners.
It's a leaked memo. It's been seen by the Daily Telegraph newspaper, and in it the Deputy Prime Minister urged the Chancellor to reinstate the pensions lifetime allowance.
Also, to increase taxes on dividends and freeze income tax thresholds ahead of the spring statement.
Now, this move highlights growing frustration amongst ministers over the government's economic policy, with many now asking if tax rises are inevitable. Are they? Let's talk to political advisor Charlie Rowley on this one. What do you think?
Good morning. Well, I think that they very well could be. And this is after the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, has said multiple times that she wouldn't raise taxes on working people. But we're hearing, just from that memo alone, just from the Deputy Prime Minister, not some junior back office minister, this is the Deputy Prime Minister suggesting to the Chancellor to freeze those income tax thresholds, all the while the Prime Minister, I would have thought, and the Chancellor will want to say the economy is growing, wages are getting higher. That will drag more people.
Inflation is going to be getting higher. We're going to see a figure coming in very shortly.
Exactly. And so the combination of the two, people getting dragged into higher tax brackets, having to pay more tax, and the cost of living with inflation up, people will be worse off with these increases in taxes than they are today. So I think their whole strategy, there isn't one, it seems to me. If you're coming after people's taxes, if you're coming after people's pensions, if you're coming after people's property, where people have scrimped and saved all their life, they just want to pass that on to their kids and their next generation. This is a tax on aspiration. It's a tax on middle and low-income England. And I think there'll be lots of people this morning seeing that memo and thinking, my God, Labour are really going for me.
But could the Labour government reckon that this would be more popular than spending cuts to winter fuel, cuts to disability benefits? I mean, it always comes down to, doesn't it, cut spending or raise taxes?
Well, it just, it all comes down to, I think, the narrative, what this government stands for and who they're standing up for. If you say to people, you know what, we're going to have to raise income tax or we're going to have to raise taxes.
Charlie, just what effect it'll have on Texas with this inflation figure that's just come in here, so we can tell you this is breaking news. Inflation has increased to 3.5%. That's up from 2.6, so it's 3.5, up from 2.6 last month. Now, it's believed to have been caused by a rise in energy bills and steeper hikes to other staples such as council tax and water.
Well, it won't be good news for Rachel Reeves, Charlie.
That'll be terrible news for the Chancellor this morning, having sort of, under the last government, they brought... I mean, inflation was high under the last government, for sure, but they got it back down to about 2%, that sort of 2-3... now it's going up to that figure.
You see, last week, Rachel Reeves comes out at Rolls-Royce and stands and says how she's making Britain great again and everything else. And I stood and I looked and I thought, but your next figures are going to be awful.
Yes.
And here we are, inflation just comes in this week. Why just not button it? Why not have some sort of modesty about the whole thing?
Quite right. And it goes back to what the government sort of believes, how it's presenting itself, the strategy. You can just like the coalition government from 2010 to 2015, you can say to people, look, it's going to be tough. So, we're all in this together. We're going to have spending cuts. We're going to have to wait for the economy to grow. But if you maintain, all the while protecting, say, the winter fuel allowance, and you can say to the country very directly, we've got to make tough decisions, but these are the particular groups of people that we're protecting. This government seems to not be able to protect anybody because it's gone after pensioners with the winter fuel. It's gone after farmers, and where people can't then hand over their family farm, where they don't generate a lot of money.
The fishermen this week.
The fishermen this week, it's a sellout.
You see, what I'm a bit fed up with is being told it's going to be tough. It doesn't have to be tough. Do you know what doesn't have to be tough? You don't have to spend. I mean, it was interesting you saying there it's either choice, you either tax or you spend, whatever. Why do we have to spend? We don't have to spend.
And that's why I think people are turning to reform, because reform very closely linked to President Trump. They like the idea of this Doge setup where somebody can actually go in and say, look, why are we spending all this money? You're right, actually having people to verify their accounts and sort of make sure that you're cutting out waste. There is so much waste in the system. Everybody knows that because everybody says it all of the time. Yeah. But there's no use talking about it. What are ministers? What are Labour ministers now? They've got a chance. They're a new government. They're still quite new. They've been in less than a year. It's coming up to a year. But they've got a real opportunity to say, we can cut out all of this waste. We can save people money. We can protect the winter fuel allowance.
Well, you could actually save your own money. I mean, but yet we're hearing today via the Rachel Reeves leaked memo that if you've made money on your home, if you have dividends or whatever it happens to be. I don't have any of these things, so it doesn't really affect me, but I'm thinking I respect people to have the right to look after themselves, to cater for themselves, to tend for themselves. Who's going to pay for your care when you get old? Who's going to pay for your carer? Who's going to pay for so many things out there? It appears that a huge section of the population have this attitude of, well, the state should pay for it. The state should pay for me. Is that right or is that wrong?
No, I think that is the absolute question. Because if I was still a special advisor today, you'd be going in to say, right, OK, what are the questions that we've got to ask? And so if people waking up today, if you're a young person starting in the workforce, if you're in educational training, or if you're somebody in your 40s, 50s, you've worked for a long time, you're approaching your time, what is in it for you today? What is the point of working in the UK today? What is the point in getting a qualification in the UK today?
Well, it's killing aspiration, isn't it?
Head up and go elsewhere. Go to Dubai. Why not? You're not going to get taxed out there. The better sun, better weather. What is in it for people? What is the incentive for people to stay in the UK, to work hard, to continue to live in the UK, to contribute to their community, their society, and as you say, save for a rainy day, to save for your healthcare, to save for your parents or grandparents' treatment, to save for your family and your future. There is no incentive, it seems to me, under this narrative that we keep hearing from this new Labour government.
Well, Charlie, when it comes to rainy days, it links to the next item that we're going to talk about, which is the water companies, whatever. So thank you for your thoughts. If you've got a say on what Charlie's had to say, have your say with us. Get in touch today. Now, tell us about Thames Water.
Well, Thames Water have dropped plans to pay bosses bonuses from its £3 billion rescue plan after pushback from government ministers.
They say their intention has never been to be at odds with government's ambition to reform the water industry. Forgive me for laughing at this.
Desperately.
Oh, you know, there have been 81 investigations, criminal investigations into environmental breaches by water firms such as Thames Water, and they are underway. We are joined by environmental campaigner Stanley Johnson. Stanley, can you forgive me for not laughing out loud when I'm reading this stuff?
Well, I agree with you. I mean, if one only has a reaction, it is about time too.
Yeah.
It is extraordinary that it has taken so long to reach this point. Years and years ago, I'm talking now 50 years ago, 1973 it was, 74. I was in the EU, and what did we do? We adopted something called the polluter pays principle. We adopted it as a piece of common EU law. I think when we moved out of Europe, I think we retained that, but I'm not 100% sure. Well, we might have retained it in theory, but we certainly didn't retain it in practice. We have let the water companies, the big polluting companies, get away for very much too long with this behaviour. So they're absolutely right to do what they're doing now. Bravo to the government. Too little, too late, but full marks for going there. One of the problems here, of course, is because of the actual success of companies like, or organisations like Surfers Against Sewage, we've all been focusing on sewage. And don't tell me that's not important. It is important. I swim in my river on Exmoor, and it is the most beautiful river you can imagine. It's upstream of any major conglomeration. The only tiny little village upstream is Exford. Well, I can deal with the Exford downflow if it ever comes my way. But it's extraordinary. Today, people like me who grew up swimming in the rivers, now we read about it, and it's called wild swimming. Wild swimming. And you see a map of this country, you say, oh, there are 3 places still left in England where you can have wild swimming. Now, I don't want Eamonn and Ellie to sound like a broken reed here, but I do say, when we were in the EU, we were, as it were, plugged into an intellectual as well as practical network of governing water discharges, water quality, water pollution, and that included directives which were called water management catchment directives, which not only looked at particular outflows in particular places, but looked at all sorts of issues. So, as I say, not just the sewage issue, but the nitrate issue, the micropollutant issue, even, would you believe it, the issue of water pollution which is created, and human health risk created, by people washing their dogs in the river. Now, where are we now? I'm afraid where we are now, we do not have the structure we need to have, and we don't have the penalties. And it takes a country like the government to do it now. Too little, too late. What we really need is to build back in the intellectual underpinning, not just for the UK, not just for England,
Stanley,
but for the UK as a whole.
You know, if I ran a company, no matter what the company was, right, so it's just a water company, I would have pride in what I did. And I would look and I'd say, that lake is mine, that river is mine. Is that as clean as it should be? Should that dog be in there? Should those people be in there? Well, I would have some sort of standard. Why do these companies only see profit as the reason for being involved in this?
Well, you might argue it's the capitalist system. Eamonn, I'm not sure whether you'd argue that powerfully in this particular, this particular building. It probably is the
capitalist system, right? Should these be publicly owned?
That happened. I mean, the Tories sold off the water companies.
Should it go back into public hands, though?
I don't think the polluter pays principle has to pay whoever, has to apply whoever owns it. And it was absurd. The level of bonuses being paid was absurd. OK, you could say that's what the shareholders wanted. I'm not sure it was what the shareholders wanted. You very kindly introduced me as an environmental campaigner. That's nice. I like to think at the age of 84, I'm still an environmental campaigner. We need to get there. And if there's one thing I do regret about yesterday's agreement with the EU, and that is the extraordinary absence of anything to do with the environment. Yes, there was a little bit about climate change taxes, but that was it. That was it. A little bit more about our planet. Our planet. What absurdity to talk about our planet. It's not our planet.
What did you make about the deal in terms of our fishermen and access to EU trawlers for 12 years? Is it a sellout?
I look at it in terms of management of the resource, and I was happy with Boris's deal, which gave us, I think, 12 years. It was very surprising to me that we threw in, at the end of the night, as far as one can see, this 30-year extension. But what worries me, of course, is the fate of the fishermen. But I also worry that I'm not sure that there's effective management of that stock, of that fishing stock. And I was confident when Britain was exerting its own rights there, I was confident that our scientists were on top of the quality of the water, on top of the quality of the fish stocks. I worry from put it this way, a biological point of view, and that, of course, spills over into the welfare and the economic benefits which the fishermen themselves will get.
Stanley, I just want to know from Charlie Riley here, from a political analyst's point of view, is this redeemable, this situation? Can we turn this water situation around? I mean, and in fairness to this government, I think at least they seem to be doing something about it.
It's a start, isn't it?
Well, I think it is, yes, for all the reasons that Stanley's just said. But to answer the previous question directly, I think this is actually where government should be nationalising the waterways. I think it is such a perilous state where those shareholders for those water companies under the Tories,
have they got the money? Have they got the money?
And I think that's exactly the question, because I think for too long the Labour government prioritised things like setting up GB Energy, which no one's ever heard of, and no one will get cheaper energy bills. Just by inflation, they'll get higher bills, as you said earlier on. So GB Energy is a non-starter. Nationalising the railways, I'm not sure. I know there's always delays. I know there's always cancellations. I'm not sure the public really overly wanted that. That was more of a union thing. But this is somewhere where I think government does have power and does have weight when it comes to our water, and would be popular because everybody wants. It's a basic human right to have clean water. And why don't we have it in the UK?
Yeah, remember what what the private companies paid. Well, the government's going to have to pay that kind of money too. You know, at a time when the government is saying it's short of money, I doubt whether nationalising the water industry is high on the list of the government's priorities. I would prefer to go down the route they are going, and I would prefer to build in a much better infrastructure, intellectual infrastructure too, so we start talking about water catchment areas. We really know what's happening, not just on single source pollution.
Final point. You see, I look at you and I think that man owns his environment. He sees it as his, or he has a duty to it or whatever. I think the problem with water is that so many people just think they've lost the connection. They turn on a tap, it comes out of the tap. They don't know where it comes from. They don't know how it gets there. They don't know whose responsibility it is or who owns it.
Well, you've got a good point there. I have a borehole. I have water from a mountain stream. I don't even pay water rates. But I do look after the water.
Yeah, amazing. Sounds beautiful. It sounds idyllic.
Sounds lovely,
it sounds romantic. It sounds the ideal that we should all want, and we should, you know.
But it's a great British pastime, isn't it? I mean, as you say, it's not wild water swimming. People have been swimming in our lakes and our rivers and our seas for centuries now.
We all have tragedies.
Now you'd be brave to do it.
In Northern Ireland, we have the biggest freshwater lake in Europe, Loch Ness. A disgrace what's happening there.
And wonderful wildlife there, too.
Yes.
Yeah. And you wouldn't swim in it now.
And Loch Ness is now polluting the sea that surrounds Northern Ireland.
That is exactly the point I was trying to make. You see, because we left Brexit, we sort of think we're in charge. Well, we are not in charge, because what we do massively affects what other people do. What other people do massively affects us. The idea that we can think about water or air or chemicals or waste without a wider pan-European context is just ludicrous, and I'm ashamed that the government failed to pick up on these points in the agreement you reached.
Well, listen, lovely to hear from you, Stanley. Very interesting. I think you get people talking, you get people thinking. Have your say today about what Stanley and Charlie have had to say, and we'll reflect those throughout the programme. Thank you both very, very much.
And if you are going wild water swimming today, should we get a check on the weather with Alex Burkle?
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning, I'm here with your latest GB News weather update, coming to you from the Met Office. Whilst many northern parts are going to have another fine day with a decent amount of warm sunshine, it's a different story further north. We already have some fairly heavy showery rain affecting parts of South Wales, southwest England, pushing across some other southern coastal parts as well. A lot of that will clear away as we go into the afternoon, but we do have some further showery bursts developing across some more central eastern parts, and some of these could turn heavy, possibly even thundery. Temperatures similar to yesterday for many places, high teens, low 20s quite widely, mid 20s for a few places, feeling fresher towards those eastern coastal parts. Now, as I said, we do have some further showers to watch out for, and some of them could be a little bit on the heavy side, even as we head towards this evening's rush hour across southern parts, but they will clear away as we go through the evening and overnight. Further north, we're sticking with the fine picture, pretty decent end to the day, lots of sunshine on offer for most, albeit across eastern parts of Scotland. Some thicker cloud here, and I can't rule out one or two showers pushing their way in, particularly across parts of Aberdeenshire. Then overnight, as I mentioned, the showery rain across the south, that clears away, so it's looking dry for most, but some thicker cloud pushing into some eastern parts of England could bring a few outbreaks of rain, and a few showers still possible for eastern parts of Scotland. Otherwise, there will be a lot of clear skies around, and so it could turn a bit fresh for some of us, maybe a touch of frost in rural spots of Scotland, and there could be a few pockets of mist and fog around too. Then through tomorrow, that swathe of cloud continues its progress southwards, still bringing a little bit of rain, perhaps to parts of East Anglia, maybe Kent for a time, but on the whole it's a generally dry picture, just a few showers here and there, and again a decent amount of sunshine, but with some fresher air coming in. Temperatures are going to be down several degrees compared to of late, and feeling particularly fresh towards those North Sea coasts.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
So apparently...
You're playing games now, stop it.
Don't worry, Troy. Apparently, what gets me about this country is they hate old people, right? It's an ageist society, so the older you get, they go, oh, they've got a house, they've got money, they've got a car, they're going on holiday, tax them, tax them, tax them. And there is a hatred towards you if you're old. Believe me, when you get old, you will find out that that is the case. And why do I bring this up?
Because new figures show over 55s hold £3.7 trillion worth in property wealth.
Stop there. You see, you could say, well, that's because they were old people and they've worked throughout their whole lives, 50, 60 years, and saving and scrimping and working to get and do the right thing. But now, that is 2/3 of the nation's housing wealth. And authority thinks, oh, why should this be? Let's get that back off them. That should be another what? Property tax.
Property tax, yes. So we're going to be debating next. Should we increase property tax on the wealthy? Do stay with us.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news,
please bring us up to date.
Or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Headliners on GB News 11 p.m. every night. It's got 3 top comedians going through the next day's newspapers so you don't have to read them, which is great.
That's a good point. He's lying. I mean, maybe he's not lying.
That's Headliners every night from 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. as well on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Breakfast Time. It's 24 minutes past 7. Now, new data reveals that just under £4 trillion is being held in property wealth by homeowners aged 55 and over, equating to 70% of the country's housing wealth. Well, with younger generations struggling to get on the property ladder, the Treasury has previously suggested that raising property taxes could level the playing field. So we're asking this morning, should we increase property tax on the wealthy?
Well, joining us now to debate this, commentator at Young Voices UK, Ben Cope, and also property guru, Russell Quirk. Russell, first of all, does this surprise you in any way? Before I go to Ben and get his reaction, one would have thought this is basically the natural order of things.
Well, it's socialism in a nutshell, isn't it? The politics of envy, which is people of a certain age that have worked hard all their lives, paid tax, owned a property, taken some risk, and now this hapless Labour government, not content, frankly, with rinsing pensioners, farmers, fishermen, waspy women and business owners, are now coming for the rest of us, Eamonn and Ellie, which is clearly anyone that had the temerity and the gall, the sense to buy a property 20 or 30 years ago. Of course, people that are over 55 are those that generally have not only worked hard and paid their taxes, but have paid into the system in terms of the mortgage being paid off. This is the politics of envy, isn't it?
Ben, is this the politics of envy?
Not at all. And I'd just like to pick up on Russell's point that this is all about socialism, because at least the way I approach this is that we don't need to do this because of some aim to redistribute wealth. It's a way to incentivise house building, because the fact that so much property wealth is kept within older generations, it's symptomatic of a property market that has failed. We failed to build enough houses for generation after generation due to the incentive structures within planning. That's had so many negative effects for young people. So their rents have gone up, they've been unable to move out of their parents' house, unable to move to a city to develop a career. So that's bad for the national economy too. So I think some form of property tax would incentivise house building and therefore be a good idea.
What do you make of that, Russell?
Ellie, Ben, Eamonn, the notion that if you take money from hard-working, tax-paying over 55s and give it to the system, whatever the system is, whether it's via government or whether you give it to house builders, and that they automatically are going to increase housing output, We've been trying to increase housing output since the last time we built 300,000 homes a year in this country, which I'll remind you, Ben, was under the Macmillan government, which was the 1960s. It's very, very easy in politics to make sweeping statements like we hear every day now from the likes of Rachel Reeves and indeed Angela Rayner on housing, which is if we only had a bit more money, we could solve the housing crisis. If we only had a bit more money, we could solve the NHS and so on and so on. The reason that we have a housing shortage in this country is not because of lack of land or even a broken planning system, and I agree, Bennett, it is broken. It's because it is effectively controlled by the top 10 house builders. What we need to do in terms of incentive is actually to lower taxes for SME builders. So those that build 20 or 30 homes a year, incentivise them, get Britain building, because no end of subsidy and taxing 55s is going to make Persimmon, Bellway, Taylor Wimpey and Bovis build more houses than they actually see fit from a P&L point of view.
No, it's just you talking about the Macmillan era, and the 1960s was the last time I had this big boom of 300,000 houses. Nor did we have houses that were more ugly, more unsightly, more awful than architecture from the 1960s. So let's hope we don't go back there again. But land banking is a big thing, and these companies, Ben, these big building companies, honestly, if you ever go out and look at houses, do you see what you get for your money nowadays? It's horrendous, absolutely horrendous. I remember going to see a flat one time, and I said, the walls are curved. How could you put a wardrobe in here? And the estate agent said to me, oh, young people don't use wardrobes nowadays. No, they're not interested in wardrobes. And what do they use?
The floor.
The floor.
It's unbelievable that we're so less and less for more and more, and no one cares. And these big top 10 house building companies, they have just creamed it off for years and years and years without actually doing the right social thing. Nobody does the right social thing. Nobody seems to care or do. And I'll just say this. In the 80s, when we were offered, my mother and father were offered the chance of buying our council house, we couldn't believe it. We actually couldn't believe it. We thought, well, we could actually own a house. We could own a house. And we bought this house between us all. In the house, there was mum and dad and 5 boys. And we bought it all, I think it was for about £8,000 or so. It'd probably be worth about 100,000 nowadays. But the point is, we got a stake in society, Ben. We got hope that, we were part of this. But the big mistake, Ben, was that we all thought we were going to build more social housing, but they didn't.
So I'd just like to pick up on the incentive point, and I think that it's really important to acknowledge that a big reason why we are in the current situation with the housing crisis is that local authorities, local councils, local councillors are incentivised to block houses rather than build them. And I think a property tax, specifically a land value tax, where a tax is levied on the value of the land itself, would be, and if that tax is then all of it goes, or the vast majority of it goes to local authorities, that would change the incentive structure dramatically, whereby they want to get more of this new tax, so therefore to do that they have to build more houses. So this is basically a free market solution to build more houses to solve all these problems that you're talking about.
Okay. Ben, sorry, look, councils simply don't build houses. There's only 3,000 council houses built a year now, as opposed to 300,000 back in the 60s. The idea that civil servants are going to build homes themselves, roll their sleeves up and pick up a trowel and a bag of cement, mate, that's for the birds. This is ideology. This is academia in real life. That simply doesn't happen. The only way to get Britain building is to incentivise hardworking SME builders, and indeed to make sure that these useless planning officers and planning departments across the nation, across 400 local authorities in Britain, basically that's where the civil service cull, that if I had my way, would begin, because planning is a disgrace in this country.
And Russell, not only the planning, but who these houses will be for. If they're actually for people who lived in this country, who invested in this country, who needed to get a break in this country and get a chance in this country, fine, well and good. But I just think they're going to go to people from all around the world, migrants who have come in, and they're going to move them from hotels to social housing that wasn't meant for them. And I just throw that question out there. to gauge reaction from our audience. Thank you both very much indeed. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Russell. Good to see you both. Lots of you getting in touch on that debate already. Megan says older people have paid into the system so people like Ben can go to school until they're 18 and grandparents can help their children and grandchildren. Stephen says the problem with property taxes is the ability to buy a house 30 years ago has no relationship with income now. And Paul says Labour have run urban councils for decades and they have failed to build cities adequately to accommodate the population.
Right, life is tough. Football tonight's going to be very tough as well. European final in Bilbao in Spain. We've got Paul Coit bringing a very biased point of view from there tonight, where he is a Tottenham supporter as well as being our reporter there for us. But don't worry, I'm here in the studio
to balance things out
after this.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A96 westbound faces restrictions due to maintenance. The A470 southbound has diversions from closures. The A46 northbound in Nottinghamshire is closed between junctions A6117 and A1 due to an overturned vehicle. Greater London's M25 anti-clockwise sees disruption between junctions 28 and 27 after a collision. The M20 westbound in Kent has a lane closure from a broken-down vehicle. And on the trains, the Elizabeth Line and Great Western Railway have disruptions between London, Paddington, Heathrow and Reading. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news,
please bring us up to date.
Or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's a big night tonight.
It's not a big night, it's the biggest
night
cup
tonight.
Game of the whole season. Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur in the Europa League final, a place at the Champions League at stake for two of the most... Paul, how would we describe these teams? Two of the most what in the league? Teams?
I think we could... How about the most underperforming teams?
Oh, no.
I tell you what, though, the fans aren't underperforming. My goodness. I mean, I'm seeing thousands and thousands of Spurs fans, and I've seen 3 Manchester United fans so far. It's not... I think we're outnumbering you, Eamonn.
Do you know, the problem is, though, Paul, for all the fans, it's the price it's costing to get there. Apparently they're saying, like, up to 3,000 quid for an airline ticket.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you'll probably see some people walk past me here, just where I'm standing. So this is the Estadio San Mamés. So the cathedral. It's a beautiful looking place. And
we've already been there. We've played there.
Oh, have you?
Yeah,
oh,
we've already put out Bilbao. They're out. We did that in the semi-final, but
that's true. Yeah, yes, I remember. Yeah, you've got form here. But as these people are walking through, I've just seen some fans just a couple of seconds ago, and it's like, "Oh, Coity." So I said, "Well, how are you?" And he's going, "Well, do you know anywhere we can shower?" Because they've driven all the way from England and driven all the way to Bilbao, and now they're here, and then they're going to drive back tonight. They've got nowhere to stay, so they're going, "We're looking for a gym. Do you know where there's a gym?" I said, "Do I look like I know where there's a gym?" So they didn't find a gym. So the amount of, and there's people that have travelling by ferry who have done like a 30-hour trip to Bilbao, I think from Portsmouth. Loads have driven, loads have got trains. Everybody is just making their way here. So we've got this fan zone. And there's going to be 25,000 people at the fan zone. And also, I should mention, people were saying, they were singing, I won't sing it to you, "Where's Eamonn and Ellie?" They did that for me yesterday outside a pub. In front of loads of doing all that pointy business, but it was lovely.
What tune did they set that to? "Where's Eamonn and Ellie"? Was it like, "Where's Eamonn and Ellie"?
No, it was "Where's Eamonn and Ellie? Where's Eamonn and Ellie?" I said, enough of them, more of me. So then that was fine. But yeah,
I bet you're going to be mobbed, Coity, because they all love you.
Who loves?
I tell you what,
the Spurs fans. They go mad for him. They do.
Oh,
I've been there, Coity. I've seen it myself.
Yesterday, I went out yesterday, and it was a bit. I just thought I'd just have a nice, simple day yesterday before the big day today, and it was going, "Do you want a beer?" And people keep handing me beer, and it's been, as you can imagine.
As you can imagine.
A lovely time.
Yeah. But Paul, not only, I mean, the outcome for the winning team or the losing team here, it could be glory or it could be hell on earth, basically. And I would have to say, if there's the losing manager, I would not predict would be in his position, the same position next year. Amorim may stand a chance at Man United, but your guy, Ange Postecoglou, he's going to be history.
Yeah, and you know, we've spoken about how spiky he can be, and he always feels as if he's back against the wall, and anybody that crosses him, you know, you don't want to cross. It happened yesterday. I think we've got some of this. There was a press conference before the game. They had this yesterday, and there's a chap called Dan Kilpatrick, his name. He's a good guy, and he works for the Evening Standard, but he had the nerve to write in the Standard yesterday that Ange was teetering between being a hero and being a clown. So have a look and see how Ange reacted to that.
I'm not a clown. I never will be, mate. And you're really disappointed that you would use such terminology about a person who, for 26 years, without any favours from anyone, has worked his way to be in a position where he's leading out a club in a European major competition. For you to suggest that somehow us not being successful means that I'm a clown, not really sure how to answer that.
Well, will the clown be a winner? Tough, isn't it? Yeah, that's the whole question.
I think it's a bit tough, and it's a bit much to be able to say that. But if we look at it, it really, like you just mentioned, Eamonn, it makes such a huge difference, because if Spurs win, it's Spurs' best season in 40 years, no question, winning a European trophy. But if Spurs lose, then it's the worst season we've seen in goodness knows how many. So it really is an extremely fine line, and so important the Spurs win. And you say it's exactly the same about Manchester United, although rumour has it you have won more than us in recent years.
Yes.
You could say that. You could say that. It's anybody's game tonight, Paul. May the best man win, best team win.
Absolutely.
And I'll speak to you again, hopefully in an hour's time.
Bye, Coity.
Look forward to it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Paul Coit there. Right, Great British Giveaway. Have a go.
Someone is going to win the biggest prize package to date, and that someone could be you, driving away in this Elnag Baron 560 motorhome, courtesy of Marquis Leisure. It has plenty of room for your family of four, comes complete with kitchen, bathroom and all the space you'll need for life on the road. And the best news? You can drive it on your existing driving licence. Plus, we'll also give you a further £5,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. Don't delay. You can't win if you're not in the draw. For another chance to win the lot, text WIN to 632 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB13 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 6th of June. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
You know, I'm trying to work out who's screening the match tonight. Well, the awful thing is none of the terrestrial channels are. In days of old, they would have bid for that or be involved in that. There's so many channels, I can't even tell where it is. And people wonder whether Gary Lineker will get a job or not.
Well, do you know what you do? If you ever need to know the answer to anything, you ask the GB News viewers. It's amazing. They know everything.
Oh, yeah. What channel's the match on tonight, guys?
Yeah, honestly. Discovery Plus. There you go.
Discovery
Told you.
Plus? Didn't even know they did football.
Ask your telly. You've got a fancy telly.
But
and
I
they'll
can't
show
talk
it to you.
to it. I can't. My brother talks to his TV, but...
And on TNT Sports as well.
TNT or TRT?
TNT Sports.
TNT.
There you go.
Never heard
Told
of
you.
them.
You ask GB News viewers anything and they know the answer.
OK. Claire Muldoon and Tim Vincent. They have got the answer to a lot of dilemmas posed by the papers today. We're going to be talking to them very shortly. Don't go away.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
There's some pretty heavy rain affecting some typical holiday hotspots at the moment, for example, across northern France into Italy, Austria, Croatia, as well as many other countries in that area. We're seeing some heavy rain leading to the risk of some flooding, even some intense thunderstorms as well. Further west, a bit drier across many parts of western Spain into Portugal, but some showers affecting the Canary Islands. Even some more changeable weather to come as we head towards the weekend. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
US Agricultural Secretary Brooke Rollins told GB News she wants the UK to put British farmers first in light of the new trade agreement between the two nations. Let's take a listen.
Putting your farmers first and ensuring that the backbone of your country, you can't have true national security without food security.
Well, they're hiking taxes on these family farms. That's a big issue here.
That's right, and that's a problem. I mean,
are you worried about that?
100%.
Why does she care about our farmers? Surely she just wants to sell US goods over here.
Oh, I think it's perfectly consistent to say that, you know, you should care about your farmers, we should care about our farmers.
We can all love our farmers.
It's also a great name, Brooke Rollins.
But I'm here at the Balmoral Show, and everything is around us here. We've come inside to the food hall, and joining me is Michelle Sherlow of Food NI. Good afternoon, Michelle.
Afternoon, Dougie.
Tell us, what is the industry? What's the feeling in the food producers at this moment?
Well, as you can see all around you, there's lots of success. There's lots of innovation. We have over 120 producers here, and we've had all the top supermarket buyers in this morning. But ultimately, businesses do need certainty, and they need security, and they kind of need to know what are the regulations, what are the deals, so that they can plan long term and for the future.
What government does in a low level or consultation papers starts to climb up the line. First it's national insurance, then inheritance tax, then we have phosphate regulation that is going to mean in Northern Ireland we will have to have 2 acres per cow as opposed to 1, and all of this is costing money to our biggest industry, and it will eventually cost jobs. Michelle's saying there, business needs certainty, and that's what they're really looking for here at the show.
GB News, the People's Channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30am.
Only on GB News.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Marks and Spencer, they have said the disruption they've had from this cyber attack that's been going on this year is expected to continue right through until July before they sort this out, and it will reduce their operating profits by
£300 million. Shocking, isn't it?
Pretty dastardly, that.
Yeah.
Joining us now to go through what is making the news, what else is making the news, Claire Muldoon and Tim Vincent. The inflation figures were also out, guys. The inflation rate jumped to 3.5%. That's up from 2.2%.
You know, listen, as much as that's a leading story, it's just numbers to me. What does that actually mean to me at home?
Well, it means that everything, you're going to get less for more.
Yeah.
But every time the interest rates seem to go down, you think, well, that's going to affect mortgage rates. That'll be great for me, but it doesn't seem to affect them. But when it goes up, they immediately drop your interest in your bank.
Because
it
affects drop it down like a feather.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it affects. You know, you go and buy a bag of potato crisps, you buy a sandwich, you get a takeaway. Yeah, it's all added on.
You know,
there.
you're talking about property earlier on, and he was talking about property wealth. And I said, it's not property wealth; it's your home that you live in, and that's what it is. It's not about wealth or anything else. I've lived in the States. You've worked in the States over the years. The bigger issue is that you can get a mortgage rate in the States for 25 years fixed. So you know exactly for 25 years how much you have to earn every single month to pay for your house. And it stops all this profiteering about property prices going up and down. That's what we should be doing in this country. Mortgage companies don't give you that offer. Do you remember you used to have Australian mortgages, which were offset mortgages? You had a little bit of cash in your bank, then you could offset how much. All these things have gone. We're scrabbling constantly to be able to pay to live in our own homes.
And live.
Yeah,
you know,
live.
not just, I mean, live. There's lots of people across the board that don't own their own homes and they're renting.
And no hope of ever
and there's no hope of ever buying their own home. And it's not because they don't earn any money. It's not because they don't work hard. It is because the system is set up, thereby they cannot afford the deposit to get a decent interest rate for the mortgage. But these inflationary figures, what this means to our viewers, this is a breakfast show. This means that every spoonful of cereal you put in your mouth is actually going to cost you more money. You are not going to get the effect of savings. You will not get the effect of potentially a pay rise, which, to be honest with you, a lot of SMEs can't afford to give their staff because of the increase in national insurance contributions via the employer. Then the profits just are not there.
One of the reasons I love coming
cannot...
into here in the mornings, apart from seeing you guys, is it's free coffee. If you actually pay for a coffee now, it's £4.50 a cup.
Yeah, it's true.
£4.50 a cup.
You call that coffee, Tim?
It's free coffee.
But Jan makes this point, Claire. Anyone who does the weekly family shop will tell you inflation feels like much more than 3%.
She's right.
A basket of shopping,
Jan, you're right,
is extortionate, isn't it, compared to this time last year? It certainly feels that way.
Now, talking about costs, Tim, mobile phone costs. So this European deal this week, a lot of people thought, right, well, they'll be harmonised between the UK and the rest of Europe. But cheap data roaming has been blocked by Europe, it appears.
I think this is a bigger story in the papers than it is in real life. First of all, Brexit was a very, very bad divorce. The other side, Europe, are not going to make it easy for us, so we have to get ourselves around the fact that they're not going to give us any freebies. But I think, you know, I'm in my 50s, people of maybe 10, 15 years younger, it's a non-story for that, because when they go over, they either swap the SIM cards over immediately. I don't know how to use my remote control at home, but they know how to swap the SIM cards over. Or, as you and I were discussing before, WhatsApp works off Wi-Fi. You don't need a phone system or a phone network over there.
I don't know. I think this is one of the most tangible effects of Brexit. I think those queues in the airport are tangible. People feel that when they get down the ground, they go, oh. So annoying.
No,
and with the data roaming as well, so you can hear it on the plane when people switch their phones back on. They go,
I think those queues are just vindictive. They don't have to enforce those queues.
They don't. They want to make it painful.
The companies who are supplying... O2 is a Spanish-owned company, right? EE has bought over, or is in conjunction now with British Telecom. They should be... It's the companies that should be making it easier for the consumer, not Europe, not the other way about, because it doesn't work. What if we go to the UEA or the States?
Let's tax those telecommunications companies more. They're taxing all us. Why not just tax them and the money they make? And every time we text, why shouldn't there be a penny on that as a tax?
And this e-gate thing is a piece of nonsense. It really is.
It's ridiculous.
I find that ironic at the moment. If you're driving your car and you pick up your phone, even if it's to check the sat-nav of where you're going, they can take a picture of you. And they will fine you immediately because they have your address and your insurance.
It's another cash card.
Where you are.
But exactly. But meanwhile, you fly in somewhere where you've paid taxes again to get somewhere, that you have to queue like cattle for hours. There's no reason for it. It's just another reason to treat us like lesser citizens.
Do you know what it also does? It actually also diminishes the role of the passport and the sovereignty of the passport of the country with which you have citizenship with.
And also, Claire, access to e-gates could take another year.
So what?
According to The Guardian.
So what? It's not the access to the e-gate, it's the fact that countries do not man them properly to allow the ingress of the flow of the tourist off the plane through the gates.
Well, they don't have them in the first place.
That's what it is.
They don't need to man them. They don't need to man them. It could be electronically
Well, they
done.
still... I mean, I'm sure you know what they're like. Sometimes they don't work, so that you do need presence there of
people don't know how to do it,
to work them, to help you work them to get through.
But have you ever seen one of those guys when they get the passport and they look at you and they look at the passport and they look at you and then they actually pull you? What are they actually doing?
I love that. I love that. When
they look at me, I just assume they're going... Is that George Clooney?
Yeah, exactly.
Who is that? George. Anyway, I just want to say you can stay with us all day. There's no reason not to be without GB News on your radio or on your smart speaker. To listen to us, you just put on the smart speaker and you say, play GB News to tune in. Here's
Claire
the weather.
and Tim, thanks very much.
Heavy showers first thing will be followed by a warm, cosy day. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning, I'm here with your latest GB News weather update coming to you from the Met Office. Whilst many northern parts are going to have another fine day with a decent amount of warm sunshine, it's a different story further north. We already have some fairly heavy showery rain affecting parts of South Wales, southwest England, pushing across some other southern coastal parts as well. A lot of that will clear away as we go into the afternoon, but we do have some further showery bursts developing across some more central eastern parts, and some of these could turn heavy, possibly even thundery. Temperatures similar to yesterday for many places, high teens, low 20s quite widely, mid 20s for a few places, feeling fresher towards those eastern coastal parts. Now, as I said, we do have some further showers to watch out for, and some of them could be a little bit on the heavy side, even as we head towards this evening's rush hour across southern parts, but they will clear away as we go through the evening and overnight. Further north, we're sticking with the fine picture. Pretty decent end to the day, lots of sunshine on offer for most, albeit across eastern parts of Scotland. Some thicker cloud here, and I can't rule out one or two showers pushing their way in, particularly across parts of Aberdeenshire. Then overnight, as I mentioned, the showery rain across the south, that clears away, so it's looking dry for most, but some thicker cloud pushing into some eastern parts of England could bring a few outbreaks of rain, and a few showers still possible for eastern parts of Scotland. Otherwise, there will be a lot of clear skies around, and so it could turn a bit fresh for some of us, maybe a touch of frost in rural spots of Scotland, and there could be a few pockets of mist and fog around too. Then through tomorrow, that swathe of cloud continues its progress southwards, still bringing a little bit of rain, perhaps to parts of East Anglia, maybe Kent for a time, but on the whole it's a generally dry picture, just a few showers here and there, and again a decent amount of sunshine, but with some fresher air coming in. Temperatures are going to be down several degrees compared to of late, and feeling particularly fresh towards those North Sea coasts.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed Heat Pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24, sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Use caution on the M8 westbound due to a broken down vehicle. Planned maintenance has closed the A470 southbound from Pontypridd to Upper Boat, with diversions in place. In Bedford, congestion affects the A1 southbound between the A14 and the junction with the A421, delays expected to clear after 8. On the M20 westbound, a lane is blocked between junctions 6 and 5 in Kent. Conditions expected to improve before 9. And on the trains, London North Western Railway faces reduced services between Bletchley and Bedford, while ScotRail reports disruptions to and from Oban. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
What does it feel like to be a Great British Giveaway winner?
That's a big surprise.
Oh my God, I'm going to cry.
Do you know what? I've never won anything like this in my life.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
That is absolutely fantastic.
We're over the moon.
Yes, that is fantastic.
You know, you have no idea how much I needed it. Oh my goodness. That's wonderful. Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I was gobsmacked. Thank you, GB News.
I'd say don't hesitate, do it. If you're not in it, you've got no chance of winning it. Thank you.
You weren't expecting to get that call today, were you?
No, I wasn't.
You really could be our next big winner. Head over to gbnews.com/win now to find out how and get your entry for the Great British Giveaway. Great prizes, even greater wins.
Headliners on GB News 11 p.m. every night. It's got 3 top comedians going through the next day's newspapers so you don't have to read them, which is great.
That's a good point. He's lying. I mean, maybe he's not lying.
That's Headliners every night from 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. as well on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel. And as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Good morning. Angela Rayner's calls for a £1 billion tax raid on savers.
Well, the Deputy Prime Minister has sent a secret memo to the Chancellor pushing her for a new tax income, according to a report. This is front page of the Daily Telegraph today.
Well, the alleged document proposed 8 tax increases, including reinstating the pension's lifetime allowance and changing dividend taxes.
So it brings into question, is your money, the money that you have earned, safe under Labour?
Breaking news this morning. In a blow to government policy, inflation has soared to 3.5%, with household bills believed to be behind the spike. The Chancellor has delivered her verdict on the rise within the past few minutes.
Numbers today are clearly disappointing. We want to see inflation coming down.
Britain is ready to sanction top Israelis over the offensive in Gaza. Keir Starmer and David Lammy condemn the treatment of Palestine.
In a GB News exclusive, we can reveal that the deal on the Chagos Islands is set to be signed this week. That's after reports that it had been pushed into the long grass.
A wake-up for water companies. A record number of criminal investigations are being launched as sewage issues rise.
As new figures show, over 55s hold £3.7 trillion worth in property wealth. That's over 2/3 of the nation's private housing wealth. We're asking, should we increase property tax on the wealthy?
If you've been hoping for a bit of rain, perhaps to water your garden, then I do have some good news across some central and many southern parts with some wet weather here today. Further north, it's looking drier. I'll have the details coming up.
Hello there, very good morning to you on this Wednesday morning. You're very welcome. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Front page of the Daily Telegraph today, Angela Rayner has been pushing the Chancellor Rachel Reeves to increase taxes on savers and high earners.
Well, it's a leaked memo that's been seen by the Telegraph, and the Deputy Prime Minister urges in it Rachel Reeves to reinstate the pension's lifetime allowance, increase taxes on dividends and freeze income tax thresholds ahead of the spring statement.
And just to reiterate that other economic news this morning, inflation has soared 3.5%. That's up from 2.6% last month, and it's believed to have been caused by a rise in household bills.
Well, the Chancellor Rachel Reeves has been speaking in the past few moments.
The numbers today are clearly disappointing. We want to see inflation coming down after the cost of living challenges that people have been through this last few years. Clearly we're in a different place to where we were under the previous government, where inflation got into double digits, but we recognise the cost of living is still a challenge, which is why we increased the national living wage, giving a pay rise to 3 million people in April. It's why we're rolling out free breakfast clubs at primary schools to help families with the cost of living, and it's why we froze fuel duty in the budget last year.
Well, let's cross live to Westminster now and speak to the Shadow Education Minister, Neil O'Brien. Good to see you this morning, Mr O'Brien. And can I get your reaction to those inflation figures out this morning, up to 3.5% from 2.6%?
Well, the Chancellor admits that it's disappointing, but she has only herself to blame. She inherited a situation in which inflation was bang on target, and her tax increases and her record borrowing are leading inflationary pressures to make your cost of living higher. And everything the government is doing, be it Ed Miliband's green schemes, be it the government signing up to the EU ETS through this EU surrender deal, is pushing up your cost of living. So the government can say it's disappointing, but it's the government's fault. I mean, they've inherited a situation where it was low and falling and on target, and got it to one where this is a surprising increase in inflation. And it's against, the alarming thing is, it's against the backdrop where the economy is stagnating, unemployment is going up, and we're heading into a kind of stagflation where the cost of living is going up, but the economy is going down.
I don't know if you've managed to see the front page of the Daily Telegraph this morning, but it is that leaked memo from Angela Rayner to Rachel Reeves. Her secret plan to tax savers, going after those that pay the additional rate of income tax, also targeting pensions and shares rather than cutting services. What do you make of what you've seen?
Well, I think it's very, very alarming. I mean, the Chancellor has already increased taxes to a record high, a record share of the economy. And unbelievably, for a Labour government, a notionally social democratic government, they have done that by increasing taxes in a way that is targeted on low-income workers, those who are grafting, working hard for a living, not earning that much. They are taking the biggest hit from the Chancellor's tax increases. And now their only plan, with this huge hole opening up in the public finances, and everyone expecting there to be a big problem for the Chancellor this autumn, they are now casting about for even more tax increases, which the UK economy needs that like a hole in the head. I mean, we're already seeing the economy stagnating because of the tax increases that Rachel Reeves has pushed through already. The answer is not even more tax increases. The time is now to start looking at some of the government's crazy wasteful spending, which we should start by looking at this unbelievable Chagos surrender deal, where we are handing over money to another country to have our own territory taken off of us. I mean, absolutely incredible abuse of taxpayers. We should be looking at things like that before we start increasing taxes even more.
So what would you do with the Chagos Islands?
We wouldn't be giving them away, and we wouldn't be paying huge amounts of money to Mauritius for the privilege of giving away our own territory. I mean, there is nothing in it for us in this deal. No. This is entirely a Labour deal. We always talk to all these other countries, but we would never, ever in a million years have signed up to this. You would never, ever have got this through a Conservative majority parliament, and we are totally against this deal. So if them say, oh, you would have done this, no, we would have never done this in a million years. No one other than these guys would have signed up to this. It's only Keir Starmer would pay another country to take our own territory off of us. Only he could be so ridiculous. And it's the same in the other deals that he's done. I mean, with the India deal, you now have a tax break for Indian workers, increasing immigration to this country. With the EU deal, you have, by connecting to their EU ETS, which is a form of tax, you already see energy costs going up in this country as a result of those deals. And whenever the guy goes into any kind of overseas negotiation, it's always about his image and him having a deal, no matter what the cost to people in this country is. And you can see that with what's happening to the economy and now what's happening to inflation as well.
Neil, you talk about costs there, and I mean, most of us wouldn't care less about the Chagos Islands if there was no consequence to spending and handing over that money. But you look at policies, you look at, for instance, I want to talk about education. The Labour government, they promised more teachers, they promised more teachers' pay. We all think very good things. Why is that not working out? What's the problem?
Well, the problem is the tax increases again. So Labour promised that they would fully fund the increase in the national insurance tax on state schools, but they broke that promise, and some schools have been left up to 35% short. And then they promised to fund the teachers' pay deal, and they broke that promise too. And that is why, across the country right now, schools are unbelievably making good teachers redundant. And according to the Institute for Fiscal Studies, they have created with these measures an £800 million gap, and that translates into about 13,000 teachers losing their jobs unless something is done. Now, under the last government, we increased the number of teachers in England by 27,000, and now, in this week and next, schools across the country, and some of them are going public about this, are sacking good teachers because of the hole that has been created by Labour breaking their promises, particularly by breaking their promise that they would fully fund the tax increase on state schools, and they haven't done it. They said they would do it, and they have not done it, and now good teachers are getting the sack.
Is there extra pressure coming on state schools because of the VAT imposition on private schools, for instance?
Well, it's happening in a very particular way. In some areas, you see more competition for the best schools, and so more people are not getting the choice of school that they wanted. But there's a particular problem about special needs, because a lot of parents who have children with special needs don't go away and get what used to be called a statement, which is now called an ECHP, because they are happy that in the independent sector their children can get the help that they need. But when they then are forced to move into the state sector, they will go and get an ECHP, they will go and get that additional resources for children with special needs, and the system is already heavily loaded by an explosive growth in the numbers of children with special needs. And so that will cause real pressure for councils in areas where significant numbers of children move, and we're now seeing 3 or 4 times as many children moving from the independent sector to the state sector as the government predicted. It's very early days, it's very early days in this process, but the numbers are coming in a lot higher than the government expected, and that could become a real problem.
What could be a real problem for you is this damning new poll out this week, this YouGov poll. I'm sure you've seen it. Reform on 29%, Labour second at 22%, Lib Dems in at third, you in at fourth at 16%. You haven't polled this badly since just before you ditched your leader, Theresa May. So does Kemi Badenoch need to be replaced? I mean, even the Prime Minister said on Monday that it's Reform who are his main rivals for power now. The Conservatives are no longer the main opposition.
Well, he would say that he's trying to stir the pot. Obviously, there are 121 of us. There's a handful of Reform MPs. We've obviously got to raise our game. We've got to do better. But the truth is that Starmer's government is running this country into the ground. You've got 30% more people coming across the channel after his promise to smash the gangs. Actually, the gangs are smashing him. You have the economy slumping. Rachel Reeves casting around for even more tax increases. You have the junior doctors once again threatening to go on strike, and you have across the country schools sacking good teachers, something that people who voted Labour would have been stunned to discover was going to happen less than a year after they came into government because of their tax increases. So I think that over time the damage that the Starmer government is doing will become more and more apparent, and more people will clock this as a problem, and realistically the alternative is going to be us rather than some other party, and we are much larger. I've been through this situation before. You always hear these moments. I mean, indeed, at one point, Keir Starmer was said to be on his way out, and then he's ended up being Prime Minister. So, yes, one, of course, has to do better, but we've got to get across the message that the Starmer government is a disaster, and only realistically we can provide an alternative to that disastrous government and end the mass immigration, end the economic stagnation, and end the problems in our public services.
Shadow Education Minister Neil O'Brien, thanks for your time this morning. Thanks for your comments. Neil O'Brien's had his say. You have your say now. Let's get more from our political correspondent, Catherine Foster. Busy day politically, Catherine.
Yes, it is. And what struck me more than anything from Neil O'Brien just then was he said, we've got to raise our game. Certainly, the Conservatives will be thinking that with their dire poll ratings, but I think the government are clearly thinking and feeling that too. They got this massive landslide last year, but they've plunged it in the polls. More and more groups of people are being upset by policies that they are rolling out. And then there's this very striking Telegraph front page revealing splits right at the top of the Labour Party. So now we've learned that the Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rayner, before Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor's spring statement, sent a memo to her titled Alternative Proposals for Raising Revenue, making 8 suggestions of ways that the government could raise about £4 billion with additional taxes on the banks, on higher earners, on shares, and so on and so forth. She wanted this to be instead of that £5 billion of welfare cuts that are coming in, that many in Labour are deeply unhappy about, very unpopular on the doorstep too. So look, you know, for all the apparent unity that we've seen from Labour, that does appear to be beginning to crack and do so at the highest level. And look, Labour are in a hole. There is not much money. They desperately need growth. That takes time. We've got inflation up this morning. And for all that they pledged before the last election not to raise taxes on working people, many would say the jobs tax that they've brought in, jobs tax as the opposition parties would term it, raising national insurance on employers, is just that. And it's highly likely that Rachel Reeves is going to have to put up taxes further or make further cuts. Departments are expecting cuts to their budgets to be announced this spring. Whether you would think that was austerity or not, well, let's wait and see. But the government is facing a lot of difficult choices and no huge improvement in things in sight at the moment.
Inflation figures this morning, Catherine, I mean, a complete headache for Rachel Reeves.
Yes, they are. They're going in the wrong direction, aren't they? So 3.5% up from 2.6 last month. That's a bit higher than was expected. The Bank of England thinks they're going to go up even further to about 3.7%, sit there till about September, and then come down. The Bank of England's target, of course, is just 2%. Rachel Reeves saying they need to go further and faster. That seems to be the slogan that the government have hit on. They talk about going further and faster with nearly everything. But the Tories are saying that families are, quote, paying the price for the Chancellor's decisions. And the Lib Dems are calling for bold action to deliver relief for millions of hard-pressed families. Of course, Labour promised change. People booted out the Tories. Many people feeling that change not coming anything like quick enough.
OK, Catherine Forster there for us in Westminster. Thank you very much indeed.
Breaking news coming in to you. A third man has been charged as part of the investigation into the North London fires linked to homes or properties owned by Keir Starmer.
Well, the man, who is a Ukrainian national, has been charged with conspiracy to commit arson with intent to endanger life. He'll appear at Westminster Magistrates Court at midday today. Well, our reporter, Charlie Peters, joins us in the studio with more details on this. And, Charlie, we're just hearing now that breaking news that a third man has now been charged with those fires connected with properties owned by Sir Keir Starmer and a vehicle as well.
Yes, Ellie. So the Metropolitan Police saying that a Ukrainian national, his name is Petro Pokynok, he's 34 years old. He's become that third man to be charged over the arson attacks of those properties and a car linked to the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer. Now, he's also been charged with intent to endanger life. And the Metropolitan Police say specifically conspiring together with Roman Lavrinovic and Stanislav Karpiuk, the two other men who've been charged already, and others unknown, to damage by fire property belonging to another. Quite interesting language there, referring to others involved in this alleged targeted operation, intending to damage the property, another charge that this man has received, and also intending to endanger the life or another, or being reckless as to whether the life of another would thereby be endangered. So Pochinok is due to appear at Westminster Magistrates Court today at 10 a.m. So the third man to be charged, 34-year-old Ukrainian national Petro Pochinok of North London.
Well, thank you, Charlie, for bringing that to us. Do stay with us, because elsewhere, GB News can reveal that Britain will hand the Chagos Islands to Mauritius this week, but UK taxpayers will still fund a UK-US airbase there, costing us up to £90 million a year.
Well, despite backlash, fears and looming welfare cuts, sources say the deal will be signed on Thursday. So, Charlie, what can you tell us about this one?
Well, government sources have told us that this deal will be signed this week. And while the Mauritian Prime Minister is not expected in Britain this week, we've been told that this deal will be signed virtually between the Prime Minister and also the Mauritian counterparts. So over the weekend, there was briefing in the newspapers about claims that Downing Street had put this deal into the long grass due to a concern about a reaction from backbench Labour MPs, in particular over controversy over looming welfare cuts. The Times of London, they reported that there were concerns about how this could be seen as a toxic deal amid some political backlash. But in reaction to that, we are now hearing from Whitehall sources that this deal could be signed as early as tomorrow. Now, this has been a long-running furore within the government, a long-running controversy. The Conservatives have said that this is not in Britain's national interest. Last night, we heard from Priti Patel, the shadow Foreign Secretary, who said that the agreement would be another national surrender from what she described as a weak and feeble Labour government. Last night, speaking to the Foreign Office, a British government spokesperson told us that we are working to sign a deal which will safeguard the joint UK-US base on Diego Garcia, which is one of the islands within the Chagos areas, which is vital to our national security. So as part of this deal, it would mean a 99-year lease from Mauritius back to the US and the UK for this really critical airbase, which contains obviously the ability to project air power, probably the most important of all, even when you consider RAF Akrotiri in Cyprus, which provides access to West Asia and all of the Eastern Mediterranean. But also it's a critical intelligence gathering location, Diego Garcia. It's vital for the UK intelligence community. So there were concerns, and these negotiations were started under the previous government, that allowing international law to be used to cut this agreement would put that airbase at risk. That's why the government say they're pushing forward with this. But of course, the criticism is that why would you start the negotiations whatsoever? This isn't needed. But government sources telling GB News that this could be signed as early as tomorrow.
Wow. OK. Charlie Peters, thank you so much. Good to see you.
We'll take a pause in proceedings there. We'll have a look at what day you're going to expect for the rest of the day. How's the weather looking, Alex Burkle?
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning, I'm here with your latest GB News weather update, coming to you from the Met Office. Whilst many northern parts are going to have another fine day with a decent amount of warm sunshine, it's a different story further north. We already have some fairly heavy showery rain affecting parts of South Wales, southwest England, pushing across some other southern coastal parts as well. A lot of that will clear away as we go into the afternoon, but we do have some further showery bursts developing across some more central eastern parts, and some of these could turn heavy cloudy, possibly even thundery. Temperatures similar to yesterday for many places, high teens, low 20s quite widely, mid-20s for a few places, feeling fresher towards those eastern coastal parts. Now, as I said, we do have some further showers to watch out for, and some of them could be a little bit on the heavy side, even as we head towards this evening's rush hour across southern parts, but they will clear away as we go through the evening and overnight. Further north, we're sticking with the fine picture. Pretty decent end to the day. Lots of sunshine on offer for most, albeit across eastern parts of Scotland. Some thicker cloud here, and I can't rule out 1 or 2 showers pushing their way in, particularly across parts of Aberdeenshire. Then overnight, as I mentioned, the showery rain across the south, that clears away, so it's looking dry for most, but some thicker cloud pushing into some eastern parts of England could bring a few outbreaks of rain, and a few showers still possible for eastern parts of Scotland. Otherwise, there will be a lot of clear skies around, and so it could turn a bit fresh for some of us, maybe a touch of frost in rural spots of Scotland, and there could be a few pockets of mist and fog around too. Then through tomorrow, that swathe of cloud continues its progress southwards, still bringing a little bit of rain, perhaps to parts of East Anglia, maybe Kent for a time, but on the whole, it's a generally dry picture, just a few showers here and there, and again, a decent amount of sunshine, but with some fresher air coming in. Temperatures are going to be down several degrees compared to of late, and feeling particularly fresh towards those North Sea coasts.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
All eyes are turning to the biggest Great British giveaway we have ever had. Don't miss out. £67,000 is the price of the motorhome. £5,000 in cash on top of that could be yours.
Someone is going to win the biggest prize package to date, and that someone could be you, driving away in this Elnag Baron 560 motorhome, courtesy of Marquis Leisure. It has plenty of room for your family of 4, comes complete with kitchen, bathroom and all the space you'll need for life on the road. And the best news? You can drive it on your existing driving licence. Plus, we'll also give you a further £5,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. Don't delay. You can't win if you're not in the draw. For another chance to win the lot, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB13 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 6th of June. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Do stay with us. Still to come, how is the new EU trade deal going to affect our frontline fishermen? Well, our reporter Tony Maguire is with Scottish fishing communities this morning who are going to be feeling the impact. That's next.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
What this allows teachers to do is to divide the children into groups so they can be taught as in groups round a table, 3 or 4 tables in the classroom. Now, much more effective than that is to have a teacher at the front of the class and the children facing the teacher. It's called whole class teaching. It's what they do in the Asia Pacific. Now, if we don't have so many support staff, teaching assistants, schools would be forced to have more old-fashioned teacher at the front style teaching. So actually that will raise standards, because we know we're already about 3 years behind the Asia Pacific countries. So going back to more traditional teacher-led teaching, having fewer classroom assistants, will actually raise standards. But don't get me wrong on this, Andrew. Of course, on an individual basis, some children need support staff. So I'm not trying to rubbish support staff. There were some great support staff, but we've got too many. Therefore, we need to work within the existing budget. And to be fair to the government, and we're not party political, we're not either right or left. We would say, as far as the government is concerned, they've said that if there is a bigger pay rise than the 2.8% or 2.6%, which is inflation, it'll have to be paid from within the current budget. So the government needs to stick to that. They can pay it within the current budget, but you tell that to the teacher unions, and of course they won't want to believe that. They will say, no, we need more money. But if you go to the Institute for Fiscal Studies, they will tell you that since 1953, going back to the 50s, we've increased expenditure on education by 900% in real terms. Staggering, I know. And we haven't improved standards. So the success of the teaching profession is not about money. It's about the quality of the teachers. So we should pay good teachers more. I wouldn't pay mediocre teachers more. I would pay good teachers more. So they have got a case, but we could do it within the existing budget.
GB News, the People's Channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. That's State of the Nation every Monday and Tuesday at 8 o'clock, only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back,
It's going to rain in Spain. We'll be crossing live to Bilbao very, very shortly, where Paul Coit is previewing tonight's Europa League final.
Yeah, but we're going to Scotland first, because Labour say the deal between the UK and the EU is going to provide 12 years of certainty and stability for fishermen.
However, the deal's been criticised for aiding EU boats rather than looking after our own fisher people. We're now joined by GB News Scotland reporter Tony Maguire. Tony, morning to you. Ahoy there.
Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the 450-year-old Fraserburgh Harbour. You know, fishing has been a part of this community for centuries by this point. And interestingly enough, more fishing boats registered here than anywhere else in mainland Scotland. So it's the perfect place to really get the temperature among Scotland's frontline fishermen. And as you can imagine, not many of them are really happy with the way that this deal has panned out. So just a quick refresher, essentially nothing has changed. The quotas remain the same for UK and European vessels. But of course that therein lies the problem, because Scottish fishermen had hoped that from next summer they would be able to land bigger catches with those quotas being pumped up. Now, of course, the Scottish Government, as you might imagine, well, they've been on the attack ever since Keir Starmer agreed this deal. They have said that this deal has been an affront to devolution, and the SNP government has also said that they at no point were really consulted on this, despite fishing, a large part of it, being a devolved issue. Now, across the political spectrum, there's been back and forth between the Scottish Secretary, who says this is a great deal, provides stability, and not one more fish will be taken out of Scottish waters. But speaking to people here this morning so far, they seem to think that this has done nothing to secure the future of British fishing. In fact, a few told me that here it's pretty much all Scottish vessels that are docked here. We know that there's a few Filipino vessels, but largely this is a huge drop-off point for pelagic fish and shellfish. Now, a couple of crab fishermen this morning were just basically telling me that they don't know whether this will still be a sustainable course over the next few years. But when you consider that Fraserburgh is built on the back of fishing, think of all the industries that will be affected.
That's it, isn't it, Tony? It's thousands of people that we are talking about here. Thank you very much for bringing that to us this morning. Well, that brings us to our poll of the day today. Do you think the government's hat-trick of deals means that the UK is back on the world stage?
Well, we'll be bringing you live results throughout the show today. Stay tuned for those. Final with Martin Dobney in his show this afternoon. And all the latest polls. The polls have been running. gbnews.com/poll.
Now, if you're travelling to work or school this morning, here's your traffic and travel update.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Use caution on the M8 westbound due to a vehicle on the hard shoulder. The A470 southbound between Pontypridd and Upper Boat is closed for maintenance, with diversions in place. Nottinghamshire's A46 northbound between the A617 and the A1 is closed for an accident expected to clear this morning. On the M20 westbound, a vehicle breakdown has closed one lane between junctions 6 and 5. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast and London North Western Railway face disruptions between Runcorn, Warrington Bank Quay and Crewe, with a reduced service between Bletchley and Bedford. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Still to come, we're going to find out who's going to reign in Spain as Manchester United take on Spurs in the Europa League final tonight in Bilbao.
Yep, that's next. Stay with us.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk then? No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop star to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is GB News, the People's Channel. This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Pamela says this government is pursuing envy politics. They hate pensioners, they hate the disabled, they hate anyone who has a few savings to help them live.
Yeah, Roy says Rayner's leaked memo just shows a policy of communism.
Gray, good morning, Gray. Labour are hitting the people of this country with taxation that's not just unfair, it is brutal. Ordinary folk, the backbone of this nation, are being pushed to the very edge. But the question is, what is it that Labour doesn't get? I think that's a good point, Gray.
Yeah, it is. Ian says inflation has risen by 35% in just 1 month, 2.6% in the year to March and 3.5% in the year to April. Cheers, Rachel. Or should that be Angela?
Here's a good one from Christina. She says they'll probably bring back the window tax next. Do you ever see old houses and they have what should be windows, and they're bricked up? That's because you were taxed for your windows, and they're thinking that'll be the sort of next thing. Anyway, let's not put a tax on Mr. Paul. Oh, he's what? Honestly, why you send Paul Coyte out to Spain?
He's probably being mobbed by the fans.
Probably said, and they'll all be saying, "Where's Eamonn?
Where's Eamonn and Ellie?"
That's
I'll have you know, there was a whole song apparently.
Whatever.
But he is,
Whatever.
he is very famous amongst the Spurs fans. They all love Coyte. Probably having a beer somewhere.
Okay.
Marion says, politics of envy from Labour yet again. Tax dividends, your pension savings go down as their growth depends on them. Look at what Brown did when he became Chancellor.
You see, and of course, we should declare Miss Ellie's interest in all of this because she, again, is a Tottenham Hotspur fan.
Yes.
And I am the only one here left flying the flag for Manchester United.
But we all have a vested interest in
We all have a very vested interest. Paul Coyte, good morning to you outside the stadium in Bilbao there.
Good morning.
How depressed are you today knowing that it's going to be a long journey home?
He's excited.
Well, this is what I was just going to ask you the same thing. Are you going to bother staying up to watch the game, Eamonn, or maybe give up at half-time? How are you
Paul,
feeling?
I think the thing is, for both these teams today, and I'm speaking as a United supporter, the best thing we've had in this tournament has been our supporters who've got us through, various rounds of this competition. And I think this could turn our whole season round. It could turn your whole season round. And I put it to you, the manager that doesn't come out victorious will be history.
Could well be. It is extremely important. I've found a... Come on, gents, come in. Now, look, Spurs fan here, Manchester United fan here.
Oh.
Move in a bit, boys, so we can see you.
Right,
but
lads.
Related, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Right, so what's the story then? How comes you're still getting on? Because trust me, they won't be getting on at about 11 o'clock tonight.
It's going to be pushing it to limits on the train back to Barcelona tomorrow, I'll tell you that much. But we're brother-in-laws. So,
right, okay.
United through family.
So, how did you make your journey here? Was it an easy one? Because I'm seeing so many people that have had such a tough journey.
Tricky for me, in the sense that we got a train up from Barcelona yesterday with a load of United fans.
Right.
I was Spurs all the way.
Did you wear the shirt?
Absolutely, I wore the shirt.
Did you put a call through then to make sure everybody was fine with him? Is that how it happened? I don't know how this works.
The best moment when about 5 United fans here got chucked off at the train about halfway along the journey.
Oh, really?
About
Why?
6 hours. United fans, really.
Eamonn, see? And what about you? So I didn't get what your names are.
So my name's David. Tom.
David and Tom. So David, why are you a Manchester United fan then exactly? Is it a glory hunting thing?
Oh, well, I'm from Devon, so not the...
That makes sense then.
And just supported them since the early mid-90s.
So are you going to be watching the game together, the both of you? You sat next to each other?
We're not. Tom is actually in the stadium.
I'm in the stadium.
Right. Dave's not got a ticket yet.
Oh, you haven't got a ticket?
No.
Yeah.
So anyone wants to get David a ticket.
Okay. Well, listen, I know that the Spurs end is full. I'm sure there's going to be spaces in the Manchester United end, is there? We're not sure. Listen, seriously though, there are thousands and thousands, and even just outside the stadium here, which is because the thing is, it's all closed off, so there's no reason for anybody to come along, is there? But apart from just come and have a look. But they're streaming through. So already at this time of the morning, so we're 20 to 10. Which is Spanish time. Game doesn't kick off till 9 p.m. So it's going to be a very long day and a very exciting day. Prediction though?
2-0 United.
Are you serious?
3-0 Tottenham, I'm going to do it.
Okay, we've got a 5-goal swing on it, Eamonn and Ellie.
Coyte,
Ellie,
what's your prediction?
I'm going 2-0 Spurs. Of course I am. Eamonn, you honestly, be honest with me.
Honestly, I'm going 2-0 United.
Okay, Ellie, it's with you. You have the deciding vote. What's it going to be?
2-1 to Spurs. I'll give you one.
Come on.
I'll give you one.
Thank you very much.
To be fair.
Well, boys, have a good time, a peaceful time, and I hope it goes well and safe home to you as well. And it'll be...
and enjoy.
David, it'll be a longer trip home for your brother-in-law than you. Thanks, boys.
Everybody's getting on, though. It's a lovely atmosphere, so I'm sure it'll stay that way.
Well, stay safe and enjoy.
See you guys. Up the Reds.
That's a lovely atmosphere. Care's a lovely atmosphere.
It's
It's ridiculous.
nice to have a nice atmosphere.
I don't care what the atmosphere's like. I just want to win.
Well, it's better than fisticuffs, isn't it? If they're all getting along.
You just want to win. That's what you want to do. No messing about.
The taking part that counts.
So
maybe.
Paul was saying the match kicks off at 9 o'clock. That's 8 o'clock UK time.
Yeah, and you've found out your channel now.
Yeah, but I can't
Discovery
remember.
Plus
I'll
and
have
TNT.
it anyway. I have them all.
Actually, I've had a view in saying, remind Eamonn he can always find things on YouTube. There you are. Told you they know everything.
Okay. Good, thank you. Good. Thank you very much, viewers and listeners. Claire Muldoon, Tim Vincent, got them. They'll get off that couch. They'll be over by our desk right after this short break. Don't go away.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
There's some pretty heavy rain affecting some typical holiday hotspots at the moment, for example, across northern France into Italy, Austria, Croatia, as well as many other countries in that area. We're seeing some heavy rain leading to the risk of some flooding, even some intense thunderstorms as well. Further west, a bit drier across many parts of western Spain into Portugal, but some showers affecting the Canary Islands. Even some more changeable weather to come as we head towards the weekend. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
There's been a bit of relief for the Chancellor Rachel Reeves because new stats show the economy grew more than expected in the first 3 months of this year by a whole 0.7%.
But could the UK's car industry be about to take another blow?
Yes, because there are fears today over the future of Japanese car maker Nissan's Sunderland plant, which currently employs 6,000 people.
Is the cornerstone of the economy here in the northeast. It's not yet known which factories will be affected by these cuts. Nissan say that they need to make £2 billion in savings. That comes off the back of 2024 figures showing that the company made losses of £3.4 billion. The North East Combined Authority have said that it'll be here for a long time to come. The local MP Lewis Atkinson also spoke to GB News. He said that Sunderland's one of the most efficient car plants in the world and that he's confident that Sunderland will continue to produce cars. We know as well that Nissan's president and CEO Ivan Espinosa did offer some reassurance as well about the plant's future. He said in Europe we will strengthen our presence by assembling more electrified vehicles in Sunderland, utilising our relationship with Renault. Now, we've been out and about in Sunderland today speaking to locals about what this factory means to the local economy, and this is what they told us.
Of course, we've lost all the shipbuilding, we've lost the mines and everything else, you know, and it's about all we've got left, isn't it? You know, and it would be disastrous if anything happened there.
Well, it means employment. Without that, they've got nothing. There's nothing in this town for anybody. It's an absolute disgrace.
GB News, the People's Channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Let's talk about the, with Claire and Tim here, we're going to talk to them about shoplifting, which we all are aware is on the rise. And I was hearing today on the radio that Greggs, who sell sausage rolls and sandwiches and whatever are having to take big steps, Claire, to protect their stock.
Can you really believe this? They're having to remove the sandwiches and take them away from the chiller cabinet to put them behind the tills because people are walking in, as you like, choosing what they want and then walking back out without any self-checkout and without paying for them.
I've witnessed it myself.
Ridiculous. So
But the government thinks they should tax us more.
Oh, stop it. Even what they should do is bring back tills, bring back people behind the tills, bring back conversation in supermarkets and bring back the ability for people to load their shopping onto a conveyor belt and pay for it.
I completely agree. And I'm going to put my hand up as a former ex-Blue Peter presenter. I have been known
Here's one you made earlier.
Here's one I've probably not admitted to before, but we both live in a certain part of West London.
We do.
We go to the same supermarket. There's many a time I do the self-checkout myself and I get home and something is spoiled or something is broken and I'm not going to take it back. The strawberries got mould on. I'm not going to schlep back in. So what I will then do is the next time I go, I will monitor what cost that would have been to me that I've had to throw away. And I won't pay for the bag, the plastic bag. I'll get my 30 pence
controversial.
Back. Well, Fingers Vincent is something that strikes in West London.
You're going to be caught on a CCTV camera now.
I'm still reeling over the Greggs. Nothing in Greggs is more than £1. How could they possibly be worried about it?
It's because they can, and they get away with it.
Do you ever go in a motorway service shop, though, and look at the sandwiches? They're about £5 each now.
That's true. And
you should have a security tag on a tuna sandwich.
But you were saying there's some shops you can walk in, there is no need to actually scan anything.
Amazon shops, there's one in Richmond that's near us. If you walk in and you're an Amazon Prime member, you just click your phone and you go in, I've done this. You get your basket, you put everything in, you put it in the bag and you walk out. You don't see anybody, you don't declare anything, but there's that many cameras. They film every single thing that's gone in and it just comes up on your Amazon Prime account. You've bought £3, £2.
But that is so scary. I mean, we are
It's convenient, though, isn't it?
No, if it's right.
If it is correct, that's absolutely right.
And the other thing is, I have to say, I've never done any of these self-service schemes. Never. I think it's not my job.
Yeah.
They're not, Tesco, whatever, aren't paying me to pack their groceries. What am I doing it for?
But, Tim, apparently we're a nation of self-checkout thieves.
Yeah.
Large numbers
of people... But you're putting temptation in front of people.
Yeah,
that's the whole
failing
point.
to scan at least one item per visit. And I was talking to a girl at the weekend who was saying she loves to pinch things from the self-checkout and she honestly gets a thrill from it. She's got plenty of money, well-paid job, just gets a thrill from throwing things in the bag.
I think that's just ridiculous. And not only that, you have to pay for your bags as well. If you're doing it, at least allow a bag.
And they're not for life. They're not for life.
No,
they don't last that long.
But you can take them into the shop and get them swapped.
Can you?
That's the whole idea, yeah.
Oh, well, I'm going to do that.
Everybody's thieving. The Mail's reporting today that Meta has turned the UK into the home of the fraud. So bank boss is saying that social media people have been urged to do more to address the whole problem here.
Do you know how much money a minute is being fraudulently taken from?
No.
£2,300 a minute is being taken by people in this country due to fraud.
Now, this is from your bank account.
From anything, from some apps that you might have. You've bought into some, apps that you have to buy things or anywhere that holds your data.
Is you're liable.
You're very, very much on the back
then they
foot.
can't complain about it because they're pushing the technology. They're pushing...
I'm all for technology, but it's all or nothing. And my issue is, look at the amount of banks that have disappeared from the high street.
Yeah.
And we're dealing with your money. You want to go in to be able to see somebody and say, look, I want to transfer this money to here, and this is safe. I'm seeing somebody, like you say, there's a culpability, I know your name, and it's done. That's all gone there. So everybody's reliant on doing it online, and, of course, scam artists are going to seize on all these vulnerable people.
Again, a call back to cash. Why have we forgotten cash? Cash is king.
Yeah,
Claire, I have to say, when I was at school, there was a trustee savings bank 2 doors down from my school. And I remember every Monday, I used to work at the weekend in a bar, and every Monday at the weekend, I'd be able to take 10 shillings and put it in my bank account. But I was aware of what a bank account was, what I was doing, and it gave me a whole sense of feeling and belonging, and to get a book that they'd stamped and they'd put the amount in it, and that was incredible. I remember things like Christmas clubs. They used to save, you used to go and you put £2 in a week to save up for toys or whatever for Christmas. But once we lose that connection through technology, that's what you say about, I think technology is invisible. There's no ownership of it, really.
But it's technology is fantastic until there's a problem, and then you can't get hold of somebody, and you're passed around. I'm having a problem with Scottish Power at the moment about a bill. You can't speak to somebody.
No,
when you do,
possible.
you explain the situation. They said somebody will get back to you, and then you never hear from them. And then the email comes back having ignored all the problems that you've had.
And talking about self-checkouts, I was in a supermarket the other day, and it's 90% self-checkouts. Quite a small supermarket. They all went down.
All of the tills?
All of the self-checkouts went down.
But look what Marks and Spencer's are talking about now. What is it, 300 million? They're saying it's costing them.
That's 2 sandwiches.
And it's going to go, and it's going to last until July. It's going to last until the summer. But yeah, we're all queuing for this one manned till.
Well,
we all needed cash.
Why don't we go back to independent sellers as well, of fruit and veg, of butchers,
market stalls,
fishmongers?
Well, you know, Claire, they all say, and they'll mock you and laugh at you, and you say, oh, the old days were better, this was better, whatever it is. I can think of very little. I mean, Tim's very good. He's saying he praises the technology and whatever. All I know, Tim, is, as you say, when something goes wrong, and I try and phone anybody or get in touch, I get this lie repeated to me. Your call matters to us. Please hold the line. We're experiencing high, you know,
and the plinky plonky music.
Yeah, it's a lot of rubbish. They don't care. They haven't hired anybody, and when they do, they pass you somewhere in the world where they don't speak English. So it's ridiculous.
I'm trying to change my my TV media package at the moment.
Yes.
And I'm out of contract, but to try and actually terminate it, I think I have to send a letter wrapped around a brick and throw it through Sky News's window.
Well, I'd say the only difference is if you phone and say you're going to cancel, you'll get a response.
But that's the charade, isn't it? We all pretend that we're going to counsel, and you don't really want to counsel. You just want a better deal.
It's the only way it'd be taken seriously. That you're having a tough time with companies over there.
I am, you know. I'm, you know, that's why I steal.
Well, talking about phone calls, Claire, tell us about voice note fatigue.
I don't really get voice notes, right? I think if you want to speak to someone...
Can't stand them.
I'll get you obsessed.
You will not.
It bores me to... If you send me a voice note, I'll have listened to it, I can tell you that.
I love sending a voice note. It's like a little mini podcast, but from someone you love. I think it's nice.
How do you know they love you?
Me and my friends, we all speak over voice note, and they're really long, about 10 minutes, 12 minutes.
It's Ellie here, and...
How's your day? Sun shining.
I don't care.
Lovely
I don't
day
care.
out
Hurry
today.
up. What's the point of this? What is the point
But
of
don't you
this
like the
message?
storytelling?
The thing with voice notes is that
do you
one
leave
voice is good.
notes?
I do, but I leave one voice note that says the pertinent facts and stop it. I've got Debbie Gibson, you may remember, as a pop star in America, very fantastic, an old friend of mine. She has a habit of leaving 4 voice notes for me, and you think, Christ, that's 2 minutes. I'm listening to it, and then it stops, and then a new one starts again, which is probably what. I have 3 or 4 of them. I think I could have flown to America and had dinner with you and flown back.
But don't you feel like you really had a good catch up there?
Do you know what I end up doing? I just fast forward through it, you know, just skim through.
Well, I'll tell you at this stage, finito, it's all over. Thank you guys, you've both been very good, really enjoyed you, and you can keep up to date with us and all that we do here on GB News, on your radio and on your smart speaker. To listen, you just press your smart speaker and say, play GB News on TuneIn. Back after this.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning, I'm here with your latest GB News weather update, coming to you from the Met Office. Whilst many northern parts are going to have another fine day with a decent amount of warm sunshine, it's a different story further north. We already have some fairly heavy showery rain affecting parts of South Wales, South West England, pushing across some other southern coastal parts as well. A lot of that will clear away as we go into the afternoon, but we do have some further showery bursts developing across some more central eastern parts, and some of these could turn heavy, possibly even thundery. Temperatures similar to yesterday for many places, high teens, low 20s quite widely, mid 20s for a few places, feeling fresher towards those eastern coastal parts. Now, as I said, we do have some further showers to watch out for, and some of them could be a little bit on the heavy side, even as we head towards this evening's rush hour across southern parts, but they will clear away as we go through the evening and overnight. Further north, we're sticking with the fine pitch Pretty decent end to the day. Lots of sunshine on offer for most, albeit across eastern parts of Scotland. Some thicker cloud here, and I can't rule out 1 or 2 showers pushing their way in, particularly across parts of Aberdeenshire. Then overnight, as I mentioned, the showery rain across the south, that clears away, so it's looking dry for most, but some thicker cloud pushing into some eastern parts of England could bring a few outbreaks of rain, and a few showers still possible for eastern parts of Scotland. Otherwise, there will be a lot of clear skies around, and so it could turn a bit fresh for some of us, maybe a touch of frost in rural spots of Scotland, and there could be a few pockets of mist and fog around too. Then through tomorrow, that swathe of cloud continues its progress southwards, still bringing a little bit of rain, perhaps to parts of East Anglia, maybe Kent for a time, but on the whole it's a generally dry picture, just a few showers here or there, and again a decent amount of sunshine, but with some fresher air coming in. Temperatures are going to be down several degrees compared to of late, and feeling particularly fresh towards those North Sea coasts.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Be mindful on the M8 westbound, where a vehicle has broken down on the hard shoulder near junction 25. There is planned maintenance on the A470 southbound, causing closures between Pontypridd and Upper Boat, with diversions in place. In Kent, a broken down vehicle on the M20 westbound between junction 6 and junction 5 has closed one of 3 lanes. Expect normal conditions to return by 10 this morning. On the trains, there is significant disruption on Avanti West Coast between Runcorn, Warrington Bank Quay and Crewe. London North Western Railway reports reduced services between Bletchley and Bedford and disruptions on the same route. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Someone is going to win the biggest prize package to date, and that someone could be you, driving away in this Elnag Baron 560 motorhome. It has plenty of room for your family of 4, comes complete with kitchen, bathroom and all the space you'll need for life on the road. Plus, we'll also give you a further £5,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. For another chance to win the lot, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB13 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 6th of June. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Angela Rayner calls for a £1 billion tax raid on savers.
Well, the Deputy Prime Minister sent a secret memo to Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, pushing for a new tax income, according to this report by the Daily Telegraph newspaper. It's all over the front page. It is their main headline this morning.
Well, the alleged document proposed 8 tax increases, including reinstating the pensions lifetime allowance and changing dividend taxes.
It brings into question, is your money safe under this government?
Breaking news this morning. In a blow to government policy, inflation has soared to 3.5%, with household bills believed to be behind the spike. Well, the Chancellor has delivered her verdict on the rise within the past few minutes.
Numbers today are clearly disappointing. We want to see inflation coming down.
Britain is ready to sanction top Israelis over the offensive in Gaza. Keir Starmer and David Lammy condemn the treatment of the Palestinians.
In a GB News exclusive, we can reveal the deal on the Chagos Islands is set to be signed this week. It's after reports that it had been pushed into the long grass.
A sign of a national surrender or a vital deal to protect our interests in the Indian Ocean. Government sources say that Chagos deal could be signed virtually tomorrow.
A wake-up for water companies. A record number of criminal investigations are launched as sewage issues rise.
And as new figures show, over 55s hold £3.7 trillion in property wealth. That's over two-thirds of the nation's private housing wealth. We're asking, should we increase property tax on the wealthy?
If you've been hoping for a bit of rain, perhaps to water your garden, then I do have some good news across some central and many southern parts with some wet weather here today. Further north, it's looking drier. I'll have the details coming up.
Hello there on this Wednesday morning. Welcome to the programme. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast. So if you're watching at around 6:15 this morning, there was a slight mishap in the studio, wasn't there?
It wasn't a slight mishap. I nearly died.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Yeah, that's it. But I'm still alive.
Are you okay? Because we've got lots of people getting in touch this morning, very worried about you.
Yeah. Well, we had a situation. We have these chairs that we're on are on casters, are on wheels. And a number of guests, not just me, a number of guests have fallen. The seat has left from under them and they've hit the floor. Now, it's fine hitting the floor unless you're somebody like me who's got back issues and leg issues and neck issues. And I had a fall in my bathroom 2 weeks ago, which hospitalised me. And so the chair went from under me.
You went?
Who laughed there? Somebody laughed out loud. Laughed out loud at that. I hit the ground, lying flat on my back there, and luckily the camera wasn't on me at the time. I was doing an interview, not that anybody noticed. But Ellie then looks down at me.
My heart stopped because I thought you died of me. But thankfully you were fine. But then I was down there with you, and then you were saying, "Carry on," whilst you were lying on the floor.
And if you were up at 6:15, you were watching at home, don't worry, you'll not see this on social media. We've had it all doctored. It's all been taken off. But the idea was, and Ellie's shouting down to me, "Are you okay?" And I'm saying, "Carry on." So all this voice is just on our guest as I'm lying floundering there, not able to move.
But can I just say, what a testament to you. You were such a trooper. Just to get back on this chair and say, right, that's it. Keep calm, carry on, do the show.
I think adrenaline kicks in, and then after a couple of hours, you begin to realise, oh, that hurts. That hurts. It hurts in all the places it hurt a couple of weeks ago when I fell.
Well, that's why I'm worried, because it's the same place you fell 2 weeks ago, so you need to get checked over today.
But it's funny. Well, something is wrong with you, and then it happens again. You know, it just attracts it again and again and again. So it's. So I'm sitting waiting for this chair to
Well, I hope you're not in too much pain, but I'm glad you're OK, and all of our viewers are very worried about you. So he's OK, everybody.
We're going to cross now live to Westminster. We're going to speak to the Secretary of State for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs. Very topical today. Steve Reid. Steve, good morning to you.
Nice, Brolly.
Good morning, Eamonn. It's good to be with you.
Steve, I hope that brolly's to keep the sun off your head as opposed to the rain.
I wish it was. I think, I'm worried about a bit of a Rishi Sunak moment because of the weather that we're in, but hopefully we'll be OK.
Yeah. Now, the water companies, they're all being investigated now. There's new investigations underway. And in fairness, my friend, I would say normally we're here to criticise politicians and what you guys do, but it looks as if you as a government are actually taking the outages, the problems that we're experiencing with our water companies quite seriously.
Well, thank you, Eamonn. I mean, I'm furious, as I know you are and your viewers are, about the fact that we had record levels of sewage polluting our rivers, lakes and seas. It's something that should never have happened, and yet the water bosses were allowed simply to get away with it. Well, I'm determined as part of this government to clean up our waterways from all of that pollution. So I am delighted to be on your show this morning to tell you and your viewers that we now have a record number of criminal prosecutions and investigations underway against the water companies, 81 investigations live right now, and that could result, because of the way that we have strengthened the law, in potentially jail time, and that can be up to 5 years. So where there has been no accountability in this system before, where the water bosses were getting away with lining their pockets with undeserved multi-million pound bonuses, we are taking action to stop them and focus those companies instead on cleaning up sewage from our water.
So what did you tell Thames Water? I mean, they were about to give dividends to shareholders, and you were saying, oh, hold on, we provided you with this bailout money, and that's not what it's to be used for.
Yeah, well, I mean, they got their own money in. It wasn't to do with the government, but it was outrageous that they were trying to circumvent, get around our ban on bonuses by calling them retention payments. Now, I told Thames Water in no uncertain terms, if they try to do that, I will take all and any action in my power to stop them, and they have withdrawn the scheme. That is the right thing to do. They're not going to get away with paying themselves multi-million pound bonuses while failing to invest in fixing our broken sewage system. The public won't tolerate that anymore. I won't tolerate that anymore.
Broken system, it's clear they can't be trusted. Do water companies need to come back into public hands?
Well, the problem there is we know from looking at where they are nationalised, like in Scotland, the same problem exists with sewage. So the problems are around regulation. So we're looking at how we can tighten that. As I said earlier on, we passed a new law earlier this year, the Water Special Measures Act. It gives the regulator the power to clamp down on and ban those old undeserved multi-million pound bonuses. It creates new sentences with a potential jail term at the end of it for water bosses who fail to comply with the law. I'm afraid that is the action that we need to take to clean up our rivers, lakes and our seas. But some good news for you here as well. We've secured £104 billion of private sector investment. That's the biggest amount of investment ever into our water system to fix those broken sewage pipes, to stop the leaks that people will be aware of in the roads from water. Over 5 years, we'll reduce the level of sewage by over a half. That is a big step forwards to cleaning up this appalling system.
But I just think, I mean, Steve, you mentioned there about private investment. They want return for their money. Are we not just in the same situation there?
Yeah. Well, no, what we've done is we've banned the payment of those bonuses. You know, if water companies are paying themselves undeserved bonuses and dividends rather than fixing the pipes, they're getting richer, the sewage is getting worse. We won't allow that to happen anymore. I've also announced that customers' money that is earmarked for investment is now ring-fenced. So in future, it cannot be diverted for payment on bonuses or dividends in the way that was happening under the previous government. Every penny will be spent where it should be, on improving our sewage system, and if they don't do that, the money will be refunded straight back to customers as a discount on their bills.
Can I ask you about the inflation figures out this morning? Inflation soaring to 3.5%, up from 2.6% last month. Household bills believed to be behind the spike. This is from a government that promised to make bills cheaper. And then you've got the Chancellor out there this morning reacting to this news, saying that we need to go further and faster with her plan. Isn't it clear that the plan isn't working?
Well, I mean, first of all, I'm not going to hide from the fact that these are very disappointing figures on inflation, but nobody said we could fix all the problems overnight. But if you look at the situation in the round, we've had 4 months in a row where interest rates have fallen. That's helping people who are having to pay a mortgage. We've increased the national minimum wage for the lowest paid by £1,400. That's more money in people's pockets. And for the first quarter of this year, our economy here in the UK was growing faster than any of the other major, biggest 7 economies on the planet. So in the round, The plan is working. We're disappointed with today's inflation figures, but as I said, we inherited a situation where under the previous government at one point inflation was hitting double digits. We had to stabilise that situation. We will keep going with the plan as the Chancellor said, but if you look at it in the round, people are slowly seeing improvements, and the OBR, who monitors these things, are still saying inflation will return to 2% by the end of the year.
It doesn't help when you give lots and lots of money away to the Chagos Islands, really, does it? I mean, what would you say to people who just can't understand, why do we need to do this?
Yeah, well, I understand why, people see this and are concerned about it, but really this is a matter of national security. The UK is in a very strong alliance with the United States. We share intelligence between our two countries in a way that no other countries do, and it keeps us safe. If we were no longer able to have that base on Diego Garcia, it would dramatically reduce our ability to keep the United Kingdom safe. And surely national security comes first above all other considerations, particularly when you see the threats that we're facing from a growing China and what China is doing all around the world today. We have to keep this country safe. Rishi Sunak was doing the same thing, to be fair to him, while he was in government. We're continuing because national security has to come first.
I was just wondering, and our relationship with America is very, very important, and that's tied into security. So does Donald Trump say to Keir Starmer, "Oi, listen, you're going to foot some of this bill for the Chagos Islands. You're going to keep these people happy down here." Does that order come from him?
Well, Donald Trump had a look at these proposals as well, and he agreed with the UK government that this is vital for our national security here in the United Kingdom, but also collectively. The US contributes a lot towards security and defence. We're in a very strong relationship with them, the strongest relationship on security of any two countries on the planet. We have to keep that going. If we allow ourselves to lose facilities like those on Diego Garcia, we dramatically reduce our ability to keep this country safe. This government will always prioritise national security.
And very briefly, Mr. Reid, because I'm aware that we're almost out of time, are you planning on going after savers in the autumn budget? It's on the front page of the Telegraph today. Angela Rayner's secret plan to tax savers, targeting pensions and shares rather than cutting services.
Well, of course, you wouldn't expect me to comment on leaks, but you can see by the decisions that were taken in the budget, the increase in the national minimum wage, the reductions in interest rates to help people who are trying to pay their mortgages. This is a government that is solving the cost of living crisis that we inherited from the previous government.
Steve, appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed. Steve Reid is the Secretary of State for the Environment. Thank you.
Let us know what you think on that one. gbnews.com/yoursay. Now, the government say that the deal made this week between the UK and the EU will provide 12 years of certainty and stability for fishermen.
However, that deal has been criticised for aiding EU boats rather than looking after our own fishermen and women. We're joined by our Scotland reporter, Tony Maguire, and he'll tell us more about that. Tony, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning. Well, I'm here up at Fraserburgh Harbour, pretty much on the north of the country, and it's interesting here. This port is 450 years old, and more fishing vessels are registered here than on any other mainland port in Scotland. So the perfect place to really test the temperature among Scotland's frontline fishermen. And surprise, surprise, a lot of them are spitting feathers, or maybe it's scales at this deal. A lot of them. One guy said to me that this is such a raw deal, they should call it the sashimi deal for Britain's fishermen. And all of this really rests on the fact that the deal is essentially how it has been over the last few years since Brexit, but now that this is basically extended for the next 12 years. And of course it was due to run out next summer, and Scotland's fishermen were hoping that the end of that deal, or a revision of that deal, would have resulted in them being allowed to catch bigger quotas. Now, a lot of the fishing federations up here in Scotland are all meeting in Edinburgh today, and it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that discussion. We'll have that as it comes in.
There for us. Thank you very much.
We should tell you that time is running out if you want to enter the Great British Giveaway competition. Not only the Great British Giveaway competition, but the biggest one ever.
It's a goodie. Motorhome worth over £67,000 plus £5,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. Here are all of the details that you need.
Someone is going to win the biggest prize package to date, and that someone could be you, driving away in this Elnag Baron 560 motorhome, courtesy of Marquis Leisure. It has plenty of room for your family of 4, comes complete with kitchen, bathroom and all the space you'll need for life on the road. And the best news? You can drive it on your existing driving licence. Plus, we'll also give you a further £5,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. Don't delay. You can't win if you're not in the draw. For another chance to win the lot, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB13 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 6th of June. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good luck with that. We wish you all the very best. And then we're going to take a break now and we're back. We're going to talk more about this Chagos Island deal. A lot of you have your views on it. You heard the Environment Secretary saying that it's about British security. You also heard, which I suspected all along, we were told to do it by Donald Trump. He loves a deal, and basically he's saying, I'm not paying for this anymore.
The art of the deal, yeah?
Yeah, so he's saying, right, you know, Starmer, pay for this. And Starmer wants his deal with the UK, with the United States and whatever. So he forks out the money for it. So that's what it's all about. It's a bigger picture. Talking more about that and what is the deal right after this.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. In a GB News exclusive, we can reveal that Britain will hand the Chagos Islands to Mauritius this week, but UK taxpayers will still fund a UK-US base there, costing up to £90 million a year.
So there's been a lot of reaction to this, and when you think of other areas where there are cuts coming, welfare cuts, sources say the deal will be signed virtually on Thursday. Charlie Peters joins us now in the studio. He's been covering this. What does that mean, it will be signed virtually?
Well, the Mauritian Prime Minister is not expected in Britain this week. And we saw that conversation between Sir Keir Starmer and Donald Trump recently via the phone as they hashed out that trade deal. It could be a similar scenario tomorrow where there is a virtual online signing of this deal. And it comes, as you say, Eamonn, as there's significant backlash to ongoing welfare cuts and other concerns about government spending. And so over the weekend, other newspapers were reporting that there was a backlash from Labour MPs and that this Chagos deal was going to be pushed into the long grass. But government sources have told me that they've reacted to that briefing quite urgently and are now anticipating to sign the deal this week. So it would see a 99-year lease of the military base on the islands in the Indian Ocean, which would allow Britain and the United States to continue to run both their air operations there, but also crucially, perhaps more crucially, their intelligence gathering capabilities as well.
Okay.
Charlie, thank you.
Thanks, Charlie. Britain's newsroom coming up at 9:30. Andrew Pearce and Bev Turner are here to tell us all about it. Morning, you two.
Morning. Right. Where do we start? Angela Rayner versus Rachel Reeves. Leaked memo. We're going to be talking to the journalist who broke that particular story about what that tells us about the conflict which is at the heart of the Labour Party.
A major rift at the heart of government. The two most powerful women in the government.
Yeah, and we just want to pay tribute to GB News' resident stuntman as well this morning, Eamonn, who unfortunately fell off his chair this morning. Believe me, he's not the first person to have fallen off the chairs in this building.
I think we can take a look at it. Here we are, Eamonn. Your greatest hit.
An area government needs to step in. That's where nationalisation needs to come in.
Oh my gosh.
OK, forget it. Fine. Just carry on.
And so, look, there's...
we should explain to you, Charlie was a hero talking on through that because the chair gave way and I'm lying flat on my back.
Because it's on wheels.
With my head hanging off the set here. And you can see he looked and I thought, oh, just carry on. And he carried on. And
I was down with you.
You were down with me.
I thought it was the end.
Are you OK? Our audience are very worried. Are you all right?
The first hour or so I was OK. I think adrenaline...
Adrenaline kicked in for you, didn't it?
Yeah, and you're OK. But then as the morning goes on, you feel the aches and pains. The worst thing about this, of course, this was at a time where I was hospitalised 2 weeks ago for a very similar fall in the same area, back of the head, my neck, my shoulders. So it all came back, as it were.
The same area.
But the trouble was, we're going to have to replace these chairs because I'm not the only one that has fallen off these.
You're a trooper, Eamonn. A lot of
straight back on.
Would have flounced off. Not Eamonn Holmes. You're still here fighting on. The British spirit. That's what we do here.
You're very kind.
At GB News.
She'd have flounced out.
Who would, me? I would not have flounced out. Now, what else have we got on the show this morning? With a big football match tonight, big European match. We're going to be building up to that with a couple of football fans. Two British teams, and it's a European. It's Tottenham versus
Eamonn's team, Manchester United.
My father will be appalled that I didn't know that.
I think your team will win. What do I know?
No,
I think we'll win too. I think we'll win too.
Kiss it.
Here's the weather. See you in a minute.
I know.
Heavy showers first thing will be followed by a warm, cosy day. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Good morning, I'm here with your latest GB News weather update coming to you from the Met Office. Whilst many northern parts are going to have another fine day with a decent amount of warm sunshine, it's a different story further north. We already have some fairly heavy showery rain affecting parts of South Wales, southwest England, pushing across some other southern coastal parts as well. A lot of that will clear away as we go into the afternoon, but we do have some further showery bursts developing across some more central eastern parts, and some of these could turn heavy, possibly even thundery. Temperatures similar to yesterday for many places, high teens, low 20s quite widely, mid 20s for a few places, feeling fresher towards those eastern coastal parts. Now, as I said, we do have some further showers to watch out for, and some of them could be a little bit on the heavy side, even as we head towards this evening's rush hour across southern parts, but they will clear away as we go through the evening and overnight. Further north, we're sticking with the fine picture. Pretty decent end to the day, lots of sunshine on offer for most, albeit across eastern parts of Scotland. Some thicker cloud here, and I can't rule out 1 or 2 showers pushing their way in, particularly across parts of Aberdeenshire. Then overnight, as I mentioned, the showery rain across the south, that clears away, so it's looking dry for most, but some thicker cloud pushing into some eastern parts of England could bring a few outbreaks of rain, and a few showers still possible for eastern parts of Scotland. Otherwise, there will be a lot of clear skies around, and so it could turn a bit fresh for some of us, maybe a touch of frost in rural spots of Scotland, and there could be a few pockets of mist and fog around too. Then through tomorrow, that swathe of cloud continues its progress southwards, still bringing a little bit of rain, perhaps to parts of East Anglia, maybe Kent for a time, but on the whole it's a generally dry picture, just a few showers here or there, and again a decent amount of sunshine, but with some fresher air coming in. Temperatures are going to be down several degrees compared to of late, and feeling particularly fresh towards those North Sea coasts.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Motorists in Kingston upon Hull should note a broken down vehicle on the A63 westbound, closing one lane and causing 30-minute delays. In Nottinghamshire, the A46 northbound is closed due to an overturned vehicle.